This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 874 for the week of Monday, June 30th, 2025. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And on today's show, we have a very special guest. He is the translator for One Piece and Akane Banashi in Shonen Jump Manga Plus. We have Stephen Paul with us. How's it going, Stephen?
Good. Yeah, watch out if you start expanding my credits.
Yeah, I know.
As in the intro, yeah, it's going to get longer and longer as time goes on. But
it was a reminder to self that I have to read the chapter still for this week. So when I listen to this later, I'll be like, oh yeah. We also have our editor for this episode, also our anime recap host, Sam Leach is with us. How's it going, Sam?
Howdy.
We have the musician whose music you heard just prior to me speaking, as well as our article writer on OnePiecePodcast.com. The Throwaways, right? Was just on...
Throwaway in the singular.
No, I'm a dad. I have to say it wrong. I have to add a the and an S when they don't belong. Anyway, Kirsten Carey, welcome.
Hello.
I used that joke to save myself there. I hope that panned out okay. Oh, I shouldn't have said that out loud. We also, last but certainly not least, our special guest today it's like her third or fourth time on. The anime academic. It should really be on the business card. Dr. Gomez is with us once again. How's it going, Doc?
Hi, everyone. I'm definitely going to get those business cards, Zach, with the academic doctor now. I'm going to put the order the anime academic.
The anime academic.
Yeah, something like that.
Or something else alliterative. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome back. Has anything new... you were on a couple...
time is an illusion.
I've
had the pleasure of being here a couple times. Every time is a blast, and it makes me more excited for the next time you guys can put up with me and invite me back, because it's always such a wonderful experience.
We're not putting up with you. You're always welcome, and I appreciate the academia of One Piece immensely. It makes what we do here feel more consequential. Not just the arcs of consequence, but generally. Anyway, we have a excellent manga chapter to go through. We have 1153, which is entitled The Birth of Loki. We'll go through that momentarily. Sam, are we doing an anime recap this week?
To be determined.
To be determined. So you'll find out with all of us. We also, of course, have Piece Together and other stuff if we have time. We'll see. But before we get into all that, first of all, I want to give a huge thanks to Steve and Steven and Greg for handling the last two episodes. If you haven't listened to them, please do. Great in different ways. The SGS is always a must listen. Specifically for academia in One Piece, I feel like that's our gold standard. And last week's episode, good as well. Steve did good. Steve should be here a little bit later. So, but in all honesty,
And when Zach says other stuff, I'm sure whatever it is, it can't be as fun as Yowie Thunderdome was last week.
Maybe it's both.
It's Yuri Thunderdome. You don't know. Yeah, that's true. Does it have its own Thunderdome? I don't know. This is past my territory here. Before we get started, first subscribe to us on patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. It helps make the podcast function, helps pay our artists and editors, and article writers and musicians and all the important people who help make this podcast
And you get
possible.
to ask Dispiece questions. You get to read them.
You get to ask Dispiece questions, which are guaranteed to be read, even if we don't want to. Although, again,
with caveats.
With caveats.
There's a lot more choosing to do on like Reddit or back in the Piece the Tweet day.
Wow.
Had to make choices.
That's true. So yeah, please subscribe to us for that. Alternate images, titles, all that. Before we get started, the tradition with One Piece volume covers is to not release it until just after we finish recording. And so this has happened once again. Did you all have a chance to see I think, Ed, you spoke about it last time, the volume 112 volume cover, if not all.
Yes, we did talk about it last week.
Yeah, but it wasn't the final version last week. That's...
Oh, I don't think I saw the final one.
No, it's out right now in front of you. Steven, do you have
did
any
you-
thoughts?
Did you put it in the chat or something?
I will
Yes.
here just for
Oh, there
Ed,
it is,
I will put it in our little Discord thing. I really like this one. I think that this is this one feels like, okay, Oda figured out how to do like Luffy and giants and make the giants look like giants in a picture. I think this is a really good way of doing that.
They do look big, but I don't know why it looks like they're being flushed down a toilet to me.
Is that in
really
a southern or northern hemispheric toilet? Is the question.
Depending on which way Luffy's arms
Yeah,
rotate.
is Luffy like jumping up in the air at the camera?
Or are they all falling down?
Is that the idea?
That's yeah. It looks like the sky behind them, so
Is he? Like,
I guess he's looking down.
onto-
Or is that Goldberg's blue cloak? Looks like the sky.
Oh, he's holding onto their fingers.
Yeah,
Yes,
no, yeah.
yeah.
He's
they're-
holding onto Gerd's
Yeah, they're pinching
finger.
his arms.
No, not Gerd. Gerd is hanging. Is hanging.
So are they like huddled like a football huddle?
Yeah,
Ramen is just
Yeah.
in
That's together.
Soul's
Go-
face.
Go team.
But then like what's Robin doing? How's Robin hanging on Saul like that?
She's growing arms behind her back that are holding on to Saul's hair, and that's why.
Well,
he's
to be
grimacing in
fair,
pain.
that is in canon. In the
Yes,
facial hair.
what she was doing.
Yeah, in these chapters.
I do like that there is kind of a compositional hook here.
Yeah.
Rather than just being like a bunch of characters kind of scattered around.
Right.
Oda used to do this kind of thing more, I feel like. But not like at the very beginning, but like I'm thinking, you know what this kind of reminds me of? The one in Alabasta where they're like all looking in that like Superman diamond, like the, what is it, that zone in
Yeah,
that
they're
movie?
all like making the different factions
Yeah.
are making their plans.
Yeah, that's a cool one. They had the Caesar Clown one, I know. Like they used to have, he used to be a little bit more out of the box, literally here, I guess. With these,
Or there's
things.
the one that I'm looking at. I have it hanging on the wall here. It's the one that introduces all the supernovas on the blue background.
Yeah, that one is just. I feel like that's closer to like what he usually does, which is just here's a bunch of characters on the front. This one is at least a different hook into it.
Actually, speaking of which, you said out of the box. Like, is this the first one that has no like box frame
I was thinking about
and
that.
no
I
map?
bet on a
background?
I bet on a technicality it's there. We just can't see it because all the giants.
just-
Oh no, it 100% is there. Don't let.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I mentioned this for our YouTube thumbnails. I found
It's in the PSD file over at Shueisha.
It is,
just
it
for the
is.
spirit of it.
I found the map that they use in the Japanese Takoban that someone had posted, and it's like very high res, and it's like public. It's like a very old image, so it's not owned by.
Yeah,
anyone.
I think the volumes from Shueisha, they all have the credit for the map.
They
image
do?
on the
Okay.
flap. I believe so.
Anyway, so I've been using that. And I've been doing the box thing for that, which I have fun with, and it's just funny that you just completely didn't care for this one. I need to look back. He's been caring less as time goes on. At the very beginning, it was like, but they slowly bust out of the box as time goes on. Like the volume 3 one is like the first one that I could think of that we use for the SGS. That kind of.
Like is that little hint of green behind Haruden's finger? Is that where the border?
I
would
bet
be?
you. I bet.
No,
you.
I think that's just Stanson's
highlight?
cape.
Or the
He's got the weird.
well,
green
he's got the foresty
Luffy
green, but there's like this kind of teal.
I care about
Oh my
the
god,
box.
you're
Censoring that.
you're really stretching for that one.
I am invested in
I
the
think
box.
this is a teal volume cover.
Yeah, Sam, we're going to talk about this off air for another 30 minutes.
It's important
And Patreon
to
listeners
think outside the
listen.
bun when we're talking about the taco bun.
Jesus, Ed.
Can we
Ed.
can we ask Oda to bring back boxes for Zach's sake?
No, I don't need the boxes. I'm just obsessed with finding the box. That said, yeah, this is. Doesn't Vera always do these images where they're looking down at the camera, or is this just a thing that kids do these days? God, I'm really aging myself early on in this episode. But yeah, no, it's a very cute cover. It's different and does not convey the weight of history in the volume, which I like. I think that's good. You should be disarmed by that. The other news, AX is coming up this week. I have no idea what we're doing on the podcast
And it's going to
next
be
week.
One Piece night at the Dodger game.
And it's
We
gonna
know
be
that.
One
We
Piece.
talked about that.
Yeah, but we could always talk about the Dodgers. Steve may
Yeah.
or may not be there. The saga
Well,
continues.
And there's
Yeah,
going to be the card game, the Luffy card for the game.
That's true. Steve, what
Dodger
were you
game.
going to say?
For the Dodger game. Yeah, well, I was going to say, speaking, you just mentioned you don't know what we're going to do next week, and I don't know either. I'll have to check with Greg to see if he's available, if we want to do another SGS. But on the last one, Greg did say, like, somewhat tongue-in-cheek, although I don't think very much tongue-in-cheek, that, that's a Dodger Stadium because Oda wants to meet Shohei Ohtani. And the fact that the break is happening a week earlier than we probably would have expected, and it just happens to coincide with this, promotional game with the Dodgers and One Piece, I would not be surprised if he is actually, secretly going to be visiting LA to go to the Dodger game.
Not only would I not be surprised, I think I would expect that almost at this point.
You know, for One Piece night, they should change the Dodger dog to a dog, like it's from Long Ring Longland, because it's way too long. Dodger dogs are huge. Seem impossible to eat to me.
I think they're long, but they're not very big.
No.
Yeah.
Off of the hot dog, but everyone should search the stadium for a man with a head of a fish.
Yeah.
Those other pictures you see online, that's not what he looks like.
Yeah, black and white striped fish. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes blue-ish, but mostly black and white. But I'm sure, I wonder there will, now that we're saying it, especially putting it out there, we don't know. I want to reiterate that we don't know.
No.
We just
Not at
very strongly believe, and we really don't know. I'm not even like being tongue-in-cheek. But I like personally think that is very likely, knowing Oda and knowing Ohtani's influence.
Oda loves meeting
It
famous
seems
people.
very.
He does
Yeah.
like
He
it,
does,
like we all
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Well, don't meet your
And
idols.
Otani's like a god in Japan.
He is, yeah. And Oda is Goda or Gada.
Yeah.
So it's the meeting.
What
it's
will happen?
The collision of
What
the
will
gods.
happen?
Which one is the emu and which one is the Luffy in that situation is the question. I'm not saying anything about the Dodgers except ... So Dr. Gomez, you're going to be at Anime Expo. Are you going to the game
I
as
am
well?
not going to the game. I really wanted to go. I'm going to be at Anime Expo. I'm going to be in a
Okay.
couple of academic panels, mostly about research and presenting how we do the work that we do. And one of my panels, the one on Friday, I want to be bringing one of my newest research papers that I'm hoping to get published by the end of the year. Is on One Piece and gender ideology and how it constructs different avenues for exploring gender identity for the audience in ways that are healthy and very diverse. So I'm excited about that paper. I work on it with a collaborator for the last year and a half. And we're going to do like the first previews of what our research has led to in this one. So fingers crossed, it'll be, yeah, hopefully get some traction,
That
and
sounds
then we
interesting. I'd
just
like to read that.
keep writing and researching this wonderful show. But yeah, I'll be at Anime Expo. I'll be the girl in all pink. So if you see someone in all pink with like a very big chopper hat, that's probably gonna be me. So I'm gonna be wearing for my panel. So yeah.
Now everyone's going to dress like that at
Yes,
Anime Expo
it's not Greg. Other people can have chopper hats.
and be
Yes.
wearing pink. Yeah, and did you mention, sorry, the card game
Yeah, I think they're going to have
exclusive?
a special
as well?
promo for Anime Expo for the One Piece card game fans. So just like me, like we love the game. So I think it's the chopper one.
Cool. Okay. Okay. And was there anything else that you all wanted to or that I'm missing here? No?
I think we're good to go.
I
All
don't
right.
have any One Piece news.
Why not? If Steve Yurko's microphone is hooked up, I will ask.
I have One Piece news.
Yeah, what's your One Piece news, Steve?
Well, were you going to ask me?
Yeah, you're gonna be at Anime Expo too. I want to give you a chance to talk
You
about
got any new products to sell to people?
Ed, I call it art
Do you have any content?
that I sell. That I
It's
sell
merely
for profit.
content.
Yeah, got any slop for us?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be at AX, but did you guys bring up the One Piece Cafe at all?
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Didn't think you did. Yeah, didn't think you did. Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's a good thing that your microphone's all hooked up so we can talk about this.
You
I
know,
No,
see.
it was
think
hooked up.
about
I was
cafes.
just signed in on Zach's account, and I didn't feel like no one wants to be Zach. So I just thought,
Steve, tell us about the One Piece Cafe and the whole experience.
yeah. Apparently, I don't know if it's still going at this point, but the One Piece Cafe, which is slated open, I believe I've heard 2 different dates now, but I heard some people saying like mid-July, but I heard August 2nd from the staff there. But they had like kind of like a soft opening, at least.
Where is this?
This is in Los Angeles, California, located in Little Tokyo. But our most recent, one of our most recent guests, Antonio Josh Medina, reached out to like Vero and I about it, and Vero wasn't in town yet, but our good friend Josh and I, we checked it out, and I think it's pretty good.
They don't call it the
like
shitty restaurant, do they?
I think that would, as us in the product making business,
It defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it would kind of. It
Well, you do it
would
like
be counterintuitive.
Bad content.
You do it like dumb Starbucks.
But yeah, I got the sample. It's a small little place, but it's got like a bunch of wanted posters outside and some like barrel tables. But inside, there's like a few tables. But I posted this on our Instagram and like a little
They
bit
got
on
all
our
their
Blue
they got
Sky.
all the decorations from the Kinokuniya across the street.
I think they had some help from Toei and all that, but
Yeah.
I realized I posted a stories on Instagram. I didn't have like an actual post on Insta. Maybe we'll post those eventually, but we tried a bunch of different food, and like I thought it was pretty good. And I've tried like a little bit of like kind of like the themed cafes in Tokyo, and I think like this was like a step up. I think it might seem pricey to some, but I think the amount of food you get was more than enough, and it was pretty tasty, and staff was great. It was nice. They play openings and endings in there, so it's like someone plugged in my iPod, and it's really cool. If you're a local fan or just happen to be in the area, check it out when it does open.
iPod. Okay, Grandpa. Let's get you to bed.
Well, it's Spotify. It's so funny when like a friend will put like a One Piece playlist on Spotify, and then like I don't know, like Crazy Rainbow will come on. I'll be like, cover, boo.
So yeah,
I'm just waiting for the early ending themes to come on.
Yeah,
That's
I've been putting together.
Memories is on there, isn't it?
It is, but
Yes.
like Shining Ray, I know isn't. I don't think A to Z is like that era of ending is not. I've been putting a playlist together, and it's slowly been populating, but
Like those Baroque Works era endings are probably my favorite ones.
those are very good. And it's the Kitadani ones are finally on. We're spreading the word.
Yeah,
the
he's finally
Kitadani
picking it
cover.
up.
Did we ever mention the cover song album that he did? I think. I forget if we mentioned that on the air.
I
but-
remember being
No,
on
but
the
it's
show
out.
when it was announced.
Yeah, it's very good, and I suggest people listen to it. It makes "Screaming Running Forever" okay. I still don't love that song, but he does a good job with it.
That's called Wake Up, isn't it?
Yes, I refuse
up,
to call
wake
it
up,
by
wake
that
up.
name. Anyway, that all out of the way. Thank you, Steve, for your on the ground coverage there.
Thank you.
And we look. Oh, you're going to be at Anime Expo. Do you want to tell people where you're going to be since we're talking about that?
Yeah, I'm going to be in Artist Alley at K46 all weekend. Vero will be there with me. They might be running around doing some other stuff at some point throughout the con. But I'll be there. And I might go... As of now, the plan is for me to go to the Dodgers game.
Saga
Circumstances unrelated to the convention or the ball game, it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to get around, but that's the plan.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
This game is
Wishing you
going
the
to be
best of luck.
Marineford all over again.
It is.
What was that?
I said this game is going to be Marineford all over again. Everyone converging on one
Or
location.
impel down to get there, I guess.
Everything.
Yeah, there'll probably be
happening.
an earthquake too, so...
Exactly.
Why are you willing this? Why would you do that?
Because I like when people will be like, Steve was right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Think of the clout if he gets it right.
I was going to say Steve is
I mean,
going to
I got
be
the pudding
Simpson.
thing right, you know?
It's the
I
Simpsons.
But
predicted
can
the
you get it
wedding.
right, but in a good way?
Yeah, can you do a good one for us, please, Steve? What's going to happen
Here,
next?
let me do it. There won't be an earthquake at the Dodgers game.
One of you is going to be right, and
Steve will make a lot of profit off of his products.
that doesn't help me. What are you doing? I need personal, selfish help. Thank you both for willing something into this world. With that, Steve, can you predict what we're going to do now?
I believe we're going to talk about sequential images drawn by hand in a collection of sorts that kind of tell a snippet of a story. Not the full story, just a part of it, a chapter, if you will.
Wow.
If you will.
And we're going to go by it page by page.
Wow, you said that in the worst possible way you could have. Let's talk about the manga. This is the manga recap for chapter 1153, The Birth of Loki. You can read this chapter and all chapters as soon as they come out at shonenjump.viz.com or mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. It's free, it's legal, it's worldwide. Ed, what's going on the cover page?
Yes. This is Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 37. Doesn't say end yet, but it says Daimyo of Ringo Kikunojo and Boss Ocho.
So,
And Kiku's about to dive into Yamato's arms as he's running towards her.
it seems to me we're seeing all the daimyos, and that's like a thing that this
Right.
cover story is trying to accomplish.
Yeah. And who is Ocho?
Oh, who isn't
So one of the
Osho?
Yakuza. She's
Yes.
like one of the Yakuza people.
Oh, okay, right.
I guess she's the head of the Yakuza now. That oh no,
They're all
They're
all
all
Yakuza
like
bosses.
yeah.
Yeah, they were different like families, I think.
Ocho Gumi.
but
There's the Garfield guy. There's the
Yeah,
Or no,
Snake
no,
Eyes,
he's,
Yatape, and
Yeah. and
or,
the
The one guy who kind of looked like an onigiri.
yeah, I know who
Yeah.
you're talking about. No, that wasn't that the one in the Ono Wabanshu, the other one.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
That
the
too.
bad one, or was he in the good one? I legitimately don't remember because there were like two spreads. I remember.
neither do I.
If Steven doesn't
Yeah, I-
remember,
Oniwa Banshu is like that's like war flashbacks now.
yeah, I know. I thought of it just now, and I'm like, Ono Wabanshu.
Yeah, what was the? I think they like the guy who looked like a big melting cat was like Omasa or something like that.
I know who you're talking about. That
Yeah.
one, I think, is you're right. Is one of the ones.
Yeah,
Those
those are good trivia questions.
What was the name of the little guy who was the Yoda on Luffy's back? Now I'm forgetting. Hyo?
Hyogoro?
Hyogoro, yeah.
Hyogoro.
Hyogoro, the flower.
Kyoji.
Old Man
Boss
Hyo,
Hyogoro.
right? That's what it
Old
was.
Man Hyo.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was great. I loved that character, and yet I forgot his name, and that tells you a lot about
Yes, the
Wano.
little peanut man.
Yeah, so how many more of the daimyos do we have left? Or how many more areas do we have left in Wano? I'm trying to think.
Were there
we
like
only
five
got-
originally?
It seems like we're
Wait,
getting like two per now after we
Which
finish
region
the,
was Yasuye the daimyo of?
Hakumai.
Hakumai?
Yes.
Why do I know that?
I don't know. That was really creepy.
So
I always think it's
who
creepy
have
when
we-
people know that.
Who have we visited so far?
So we visit
it's a-
Kiku.
Dogstorm
Obviously.
was the daimyo of Kuri, right?
Kawamatsu?
Kawamatsu was in the last one that was in Hakumai, I think.
Yeah.
And how many
And
regions are there?
We
How
didn't. I don't think
many-
we've seen Ashura Doji. I mean, there may be pieces of him around here somewhere.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like did Ashura Doji and Izo die so
Yes.
that there would be exactly the same amount of Takazaya daimyos
Wow.
that they
Yes,
all
the
planned.
answer to that is yes.
Oh
They
wow.
were playing musical chairs.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. You're
They
going to
got the
die,
short
and the reason
straw.
you're going to die is that there's not enough regions for you. And Onigashima, could have been a region, but it crashed on top of another region, so now
So it
it's
doesn't
part of it.
count, yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, now it's in the
The
ocean.
most important thing about this cover story is that it's cute as shit.
It is an extremely cute cover story, yes. There was a lot of meandering in the middle, much like a lot of Oda arcs, or movies, I should say. However, I feel like it's moving back in the right direction here.
I like Kiku's big coat.
Kiku's big coat's
snowing.
great.
Yes, Ringo was the snowland, wasn't it?
Yeah, much like Japan is the only place that has seasons.
4 seasons. Yeah.
I should
He's
point
doing
out.
the cool sleeveless cape coat thing.
I should point out. I don't think anyone has mentioned it yet. Isn't this like Izo's kind of style? The pattern.
It might be like his coat.
Yeah.
Oh,
On
Aw.
That's what I was thinking, like her brother.
Okay, now that our hearts are broken.
Yeah.
Ed, do you have
happy Pride, everyone.
Ed, that's true.
Yeah.
Ed, do you have the author comment
Actually,
handy?
It's not the one he was wearing in Wano.
I'm getting there. I do have it now.
Because Izo's had like the big Kozuki symbol on the side.
No, I don't think it's the exact same one, but maybe it's in that style, and that's why.
Well, I mean, like everybody cool wears this style.
That's true. That's true. I certainly walk around the house like that. It keeps falling off, though. It's very annoying.
We got to get the safety pins.
That's what the hockey is for.
Yeah, exactly. If you have the amount of, if you have Supreme Conquerors hockey or whatever the fuck, Ed, what's the author comment?
Yes, Oda says this week, I received an emu figure. Hilarious. There's going to be a plushie, too. Emu is being toyed with, and I'm just going to stop right there before I get mommy-dommied and turned into a demon.
That was not part of the...
Yeah.
No.
Please. Yeah, I thought it was just like a fan made thing, a meme going around, but there is like a
Yeah, I
crane-
saw the meme about the
No,
emu
there's
plushie.
an actual plushie.
There's a crane
Yeah.
game emu. I want one so bad.
Yeah, I saw a couple memes this week about people taking their emu plushies around to sort of inappropriate places.
God.
Yeah.
My favorite one, because the emu plushie is like big. Like one
Yeah.
of the good ones is like someone strapped it in a car seat, and it like fits in the car seat like a child.
So you could drive in the carpool lane,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I have an indescribable immortal god sitting next to me. I could go in the carpool lane.
Yeah, there were memes because the crane prize was like they had like strung it up, they had tied it up with strings so that it was in like an actual block, and so people were doing fan art of like emu tied up like in a box, basically.
It was great. All the fan art's
Yeah.
been great of it too.
Has anybody done the meme with like the guy like sleeping next to his girlfriend with like the giant Mareep plush?
I'm sure. I'm like,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I would be. Anyway, I love that kind of shit. So that's. I also want
fun.
one. I don't know where the fuck I'd put it or do with it, but the one at Shake Shack really got me.
Yeah. The Shake Shack with just his little fingies like hovering near the fries.
I love
Very
seeing
good.
super evil people like manipulated like that is very funny.
Is this going to be a situation where at the end of the series, when we know what emu actually looks like, it's going to be like an ugly chopper thing where people are like, oh, I liked emu when it was, a weird
Yes.
dark figure with eyes. Yeah.
100%. That is what's going to happen. Yep. Oh, not at all related, but speaking of merch, I forgot that there's an eyeglass line that came out for One Piece. And when I think of One Piece characters, I always think of eyeglasses.
Wow.
I think of Captain Kuro.
I guess.
Mark of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Shame on you, Shueisha. You took a sponsorship from Lens Crafters.
No, it was Jin's, I think. They've done it before, but they're very nice looking and classy, but it's like...
I was
that the
trying
thing
to
I'm
do like
gonna
a few steps removed Simpsons reference there.
I know what you were doing. Anyway, Ed, do you want to talk about the first 2 pages of the chapter?
Yeah, I'll start. So we start talking about young Harold, and we hear Prince Harold of Elbaf lived out his rather unhinged childhood years alongside Dory and Brogy, and there they all are, sort of prancing along through the streets there. I think it's Dory or Brogy has a bump on his head from getting hit by Mom somewhere.
on his helmet.
And Brokey
Yes.
just looks like an eggplant.
I was going to say, you want to talk about who looks like a peanut? Look at this guy.
That is literally a peanut.
Oh no!
I've seen peanuts.
Yeah, Baby Peanut. Yeah.
Baby peanut.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot.
If you're
about
wondering
that.
where that was, what happened to Nut Jr. after that,
that what
early
they called
2020
him?
campaign,
That was-
that ill-fated 2020
what
campaign.
a bad campaign, and we've talked about it on the
Yeah.
show.
They,
Pretty.
they set Nut Jr. back in time.
Did they really call him Nut Junior?
They called him Nut Jr.
God, I hate this.
Okay,
world.
well, the narration continues here. I'll go on. Thanks to his innate size and strength, gifts from his ancient giant blood, as well as his noble status, he developed an inflated sense of self, and no one could stop him from growing into a royal pain. And we see him sort of being a giant silhouette and terrorizing everyone.
By the way,
And as
Steven,
children run from him.
I just have to give you so much credit for Royal Pain there.
Royal Pain. Yeah, thank you.
I
That
was
good.
like, I'm like, Steven, I like that. I was thinking as I was reading it, I'm like, I hear Steven's voice coming out here.
And it looks like we transition to slightly later in the time period here. And we see a slightly older Harold with face tattoo kind of like Ripley's. It says, Everyone outside of Elbaf is so tiny and pitiful and boring. Don't you agree? And as one of the crew says, Of course, Your Majesty. Because that's what you do when the king asks you a question.
I love him picking his nose and then flicking the booger, and it is like has the impact of a bomb.
the Wind Waker guy. Kersplursh.
Yeah.
I didn't really get that. I didn't grok that at all.
I
saw him
grokked
picking
it.
his nose with his
Oh, wait,
with
what
your
did-
little finger as you do in manga.
I thought
little
Grok
shark
was an
flying.
onomatopoeia, and then I realized what you were referring to, and I hated it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, but elsewhere in the Bunt Kingdom in the New World, we hear, "Come one, come all, marvel at the 10-meter woman, feel the earth tremble as she walks. Cover your ears when she barks thunder, a rare giant from the exotic land of Elbaf." And then people are sort of shrieking in the background, and we hear, and we see this woman in a cage, large, giant woman in a cage. Step away from the cage if you don't want to be hurt, as the freak show attendants run away.
No, I think these are.
That's just the
Passerbys.
audience. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Also,
audience, yeah.
also, by the way, how do
We call them marks.
yeah,
Right.
Stephen, how do you pronounce her name? Because they
Feast your eyes on Ida.
Ida.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this is totally the like the scene from King Kong, the classic movie.
Yes,
where-
and then we see the big top through binoculars, and I guess this is Harold saying, "Turning a giant into a sick sideshow, they've got some nerve." Grumble, grumble.
By the way, am I wrong? She only has the horns here and then never again.
Yes. No, that's correct.
Yeah.
Is that an accident?
No.
They're probably fake.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think it's hard to tell in this panel, but I wouldn't be surprised because the way her, I wouldn't be surprised. It's kind of just like a headband. you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah, I
like
could
putting
see
a
it.
Native American in a sideshow and putting them in like a big headdress.
Not quite like that.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Sam.
We turn the page, and now we're already sailing away from the island with a little smoke in the distance. We can infer that they just pillaged the place. And Harold is laughing. Bah ha ha ha! Yeah ha ha! They thought Elbaf was a joke. Well, who's laughing now? And they've taken the woman along with them, having quote unquote rescued her. And she's like, "Who are you?" And Harold is saying, "No need to thank me. I'm the king of Elbaf. I won't stand to see my homeland disrespected like that." And then
I like that
Without-
they're all holding up their hands. They're like, "It's cool. It's cool. No need to thank us."
Yeah, right.
and then Ida gives him a big slap. Sends him.
So I guess the
kind of-
implication here is that they stole a giant from somewhere and just said she was from Elbaf.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I
they-
guess so.
Well, we're about to. I think that's. We'll find a little bit more about that on the next page.
and Loki's men are, their tongues are out, their eyes are bugging. They're like, "What, Your Majesty, King Harold!" And this is like the least Oda-like drawing I feel like I've seen in a long time. Like his face is sort of like drooping in like an arch.
Zach said this was the most Steve face that.
I
drawing.
see.
What do you
Yeah.
mean by that?
It
you
is-
mean I would make that
Both,
face?
both. I mean, two things by that. I mean, first of all, I have seen you make that exact face in the same exact way. Yes, but what I actually more
After
meant,
he got slapped.
yeah, well, after I slapped him that time. We all remember that time. But
Yeah, I was pretty hammered.
you deserved it. Wait, that doesn't sound good. But what I'm actually saying is this does totally look like something you would draw. Like this feels very Steve
It
Urkel.
has a Twitter webcomic artist.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean, but I mean like Steve, you usually do draw like the when we draw podcast images, I feel like they are like you're not trying to draw exactly Oda's style, you're trying to draw your style,
Right.
Yeah, and that's kind of what this
Sometimes.
feels like. It feels like Oda's copying you, right?
I do
here.
kind
He
of
saves
like.
a lot of
I like
squash
the
and-
thing with Harold here. He's like, he doesn't understand that he's been slapped, or maybe like why he would be slapped.
Yeah.
He's just taken aback. Like he's not mad. He's not
Yeah.
he's not hurt. He's just like, "What?
He's even got a little tear.
I didn't know you could do that to me.
Yes.
Yeah, Oda often will do squash and stretch with the faces when either they're yelling or they get hit, as in we see in this slap panel here, which is a great slap panel. But yeah, this feels a little bit different, and I liked it. It felt unique.
It's kind of endearing.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I was
Very.
quickly. I think
With his
after,
his little eyelashes.
yeah, like after a few of these pages, I was like,
Yeah.
oh wow, Oda quickly was like, for a character we knew nothing about in just like a few pages, it's like, all right, I already get so much of his personality just through these. But I'll save that for later. But yeah, this was the start for something great.
And Ida's looking back at the destroyed village. She's like, "Turn the ship around. I need to apologize. So many people were hurt back there." And Harold's like, "Are you insane? You care about that mini kingdom of tiny humans?" And she's like shaking her fist like, "Arr." And then she uses that fist. She welts him. She's like, "Do I have to hit you again?" Clearly, she's just did hit him again. And his guards are like, "King Harold." They can't really do much of anything, it seems. And she's continuing to say, like, "They saved my life when I washed up on their shore and gave me a job to do. They were kind enough to help me make a living until I was fully healed." Now she's like grabbing him by the shoulder, shaking him, crying a little emotionally.
Yeah, sometimes giants just wash up on shores like that. It happened to Saul.
Yeah, almost like when Hiyori was kind of like pleading at Zoro about the smile fruits. It's like, "What do you mean, tiny humans? Just because you happen to be born huge and are coincidentally strong and brutish?"
And handsome and good looking and
How could you be so arrogant? It's pathetic. This is why everyone thinks all giants are as barbaric and brutish as Elbaf.
and beautiful. Sorry, am I just projecting? Steve.
Yeah, how do you really feel, Zach? What do you think of Harold?
Yeah.
Please tell us.
No. Go ahead.
What do you think about Bara?
What?
Bara haha, of course. Yeah, but we continue on because this is sorry. This is continuous dialogue here.
Yeah, it is a little
and
confusing.
This is Ida saying, "Just because I was born huge."
That's Harold.
Oh, that's Harold.
He's like he's being introspective about it.
Yes, he's repeating what she just said.
Like in a Disney movie or something.
Cool. My mistake. And this is when it echoes, right?
Yeah.
Just because I was born huge, just because I was born huge, huge. So we have this wide shot. They return to the island. Beautiful ship.
Yeah, good job, assistants.
This is such a great drawing. Love this so much. So we hear a lot of clonking, and if we get this amazing pouty face. From Harold here.
Yeah,
which I've also been
row.
accused of making this face. Yeah.
Steve, you very much exude the Harold faces, at least. Like, maybe not the personality, but...
Yes, just because you were born huge.
Yeah, exactly,
Just because
Steve.
I was born huge.
But by the way, just get rid of the hair from these panels and the horns, obviously. And it's a good Steve Urkel right there.
Jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. God, I found someone else to... I found
A new
kin.
cosplay, yeah.
And we get this great panel here of Ida helping out folks with repairing. And this is great use of perspective here because you see all the people in the foreground. You see Ida in the background. She is huge.
She's the size of the house, yeah.
She's bigger.
Bigger, yeah.
And like we get kind of like we get like this Cracker Jack box looking guy here. No, wait, there's a sailor on the Cracker Jack box. I don't know. He looks like some sort of snack food mascot here, and like he's dipping his hat. Like, thank you, ma'am.
Kind of looks like Mr. Peanut, not Junior.
A lot of people look like Planters Peanuts.
Sometimes
Guys,
you
they
look
are-
like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
They did not pay us to talk about them, so we have to not talk about them anymore.
They could.
Sure.
And then we get another wide shot here of the ship from the front, and we hear some mook here say, "Should we just set sail, King Harold?" So it says, "Why are you all spacing out, huh?" And this is Harold saying, "Go and help her, you ninnies. This town is as tiny as a model. It's easy work."
I don't know. Have you guys built models before?
Your Majesty.
Imagine
Like
them helping
Legos?
with like little tweezers and.
lining up those stickers though is the worst.
Do you know who would have enjoyed this? Roto.
Roto.
Yeah.
Roto? Wow. Yeah. And Roto better be nice to Ida, or I'm gonna kick his ass. I noticed that this like pirate crew here, they're all like yes men, and they all kind of just do the same thing.
Well, to be fair, it's not like a real pirate crew. It's the king and his men. It's not a pirate crew.
It's no fun. It's like Walpole's crew, It's like they're no fun. So some time passes here and says their method of construction is completely different from ours. We should tell everyone about it when we return to Elbaf. I want to bring home some of their spices. I've never tasted flavors like these before, and I'm sure this is like Harold. But we get this really great wide shot here of the crowd celebrating after they fix the town.
So the giants of Elbaf are better at pillaging than the British are, which is kind of hard to do. But like they say, the British pillaged the world for their spices didn't use any of them.
That's true. I have
Delaney here to defend
the British Empire.
Yeah. Yeah, they could. You know what? They've been getting a lot of flack lately.
Yeah, someone better defend the British Empire.
But anyway, we get. I think this is the other guys talking because Harold is still kind of like he's what's the old
giant? He's
anime
giant
term here. No, not just that. He's
he has horns.
Don't praise. It's like I didn't do this for you, Baka. What's that again?
Tsundere?
Come on, you nerds. What was that?
Tsundere?
Tsundere. Thank you, Steve.
Remind me put a pin in it later that I need to mention a Baka story that my son. But go ahead.
Keep him off the forums, Zach.
I tried. It didn't work.
And because I think this is his men saying this because he's still kind of being Tsundere here because we hear someone saying, "Notice how hardy their fabric is." And then we see this panel of Ida reaching out her hand, asking Harold, "Do you want to take ibuprofen with me?" Second reference, her as Prince Ali saying, "Do you trust me?"
Any others, Steve? Because I know you're an encyclopedia.
Yeah,
Come with me if you want to live.
Yeah.
Can you check
except
this
Spent
cut
so
I
much
have
time
on
hanging
my?
out with Sungwon. Now you can quote all the entire scripts of Disney movies from memory.
What are you talking about? I've been doing that.
I was gonna say, Ed. Steve has been
years
doing
before.
that for
It's
a very
true.
long time.
LeFou.
Oh God.
Anyway,
here we go.
And we have a panel here of Ida convincing Harold to beg for forgiveness from the king, and she's pleading the case, being the median here. And like, yeah, this is like banter. It's like, and yet it's so fine. These humans are more skilled than we realized. And yeah, it's just like current conversations being shown over a montage of things happening in the near future. But he begs forgiveness from the king, and then we see these children. Who they must be big children if Harold's quite the large giant here. But
True.
I think just sense of it's just a sense of scale thing here. But like they're climbing up on him and they're like pointing at him and kind of just like reacting to him. He's like, kids, and then we see a party and everyone, yes, they're doing the Nika dance. Everyone do this.
There's only one move
Everybody walk
after,
the dinosaur.
after
stinking thinking.
after Nika's introduced as a character in One Piece. No one else dances differently.
No
true,
one
yeah.
does no one does the robot anymore. No one does.
What are the other dances?
Bat-2-C.
Bat-2-C
Do the monkey.
there. The monkey. That's a
monkey.
good one.
They don't do the sticks in your nose and
You know
make
what
the
they
shovel
don't?
move motion anymore.
To be fair,
Yeah,
that's not as culturally
where's that
relevant.
mythical Zoan fruit, huh? Where's that mythical Zoan fruit? What god is that?
I forget I forget the name of the comedian.
I
who
was
came up
gonna
with that.
say, who was the comedian? I'm trying to remember because that would be the name of that fruit. I'm sure.
But yes, they're doing the Nika dance. What does it all mean, Basil? We don't know. And we hear some more dialogue here. It's like, you have to see things from their eye level, Harold. Nothing in the world is meant to be destroyed. And then an earthquake happened because Harold immediately tried seeing things from their point of view and jumped down on the
Steve,
ground.
that's not what
and tried his
happened
best.
yet. Stephen.
So yes, some time has passed, and they've continued their travels here on the Elbaf ship. As Ida says, I was born on Samwanai Island in the South Blue. After some twists and turns, my life's path brought me here. And as a side note, I know some people have connected some dots and said that Saul is another giant who was very explicitly said to not have been coming from Elbaf, and he said he was from the South Blue too. So it is possible that they came from the same place. Same tribe of giants. So Harold says, so you crossed the Serpent of Blood. And she's like, you mean the Red Line? This is the problem with Google Maps trying to have two different names for things. And she said, yes, which is why I can't go back home. And
Is that why? So, Stephen, a translation question here. So, could it be that the Red Line was called that? Like the Serpent of Blood could have the same etymology as red.
Line?
Yeah, specifically in Red Line. I don't know if that works.
It is. The rocks of the Red Line do appear red from the outside. So.
Right, but I'm like wondering if there's maybe more meaning to it than just that.
It just feels like kind of like, it's different cultures, different phrases.
That's the
Okay.
way I take it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of, evil people that are atop that continent, so.
And then do you see the little white flag that he's waving?
Yeah. Yes. In the meantime, they are, I guess, trying to treat with some villagers here on this island they've landed at, and the people are clearly very intimidated and are brandishing their spears at.
I didn't see his big
Yeah,
hand
me
with the little
neither.
flag.
It's adorable. He's so cute.
By the way, I forgot to
They're
mention.
very cute in this picture.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention this, but we originally, like when we started the Elbaf arc, said, wouldn't it be lame if you were a giant and you were sailing and every island was more little tiny people? And that's exactly what is That was exactly his reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another island of tiny people? Okay.
I just think he gets cuter every single panel. He's just like so sweet.
Yeah, the giants are looking at each other like, are we the biggies? So Ida cannot go home, according to her, which doesn't see. I mean, I think she could if she wanted to, but okay, we'll take
Oh, there's
her
a
word for it.
there's a big continent in the way.
And he says, well, then come to Elbaf. We're not as barbaric as you say. And she says, oh, maybe I was mistaken about you too. And he has fished up a gigantic shark for the, I guess, for the same people, and is winning them over by feeding them for a month or whatever it is. Much like the the servants at the Beast's castle, the guards are looking on here as Harold and Ida are sharing a romantic moment staring at the sunset. And they're like, King Harold's changed. And so the guy's like, yeah, it's creepy. I bet it won't last long. And then we flash forward Elbaf 105 years ago, which initially, like as a punchline, I thought it was going to be Elbaf 105 years later. That it's not going to last long. And then, but no, this is just a couple years after the previous scene.
Oh, actually, Stephen, I had a question. Is there any sort of etymology to Samonai Island? Any meaning to it?
I am not sure. Like, it definitely looks like it should be one of Oda's pun names, and it kind of looks a little, or it sounds a little bit like not cold, but it's not really conjugated in the same way. So I don't know if that would actually be the like the sort of the hidden meaning behind it. But yeah, it is. It definitely looks like one of those Oda names for places. So we are back on Elbaf. Harold has returned, and he announces, "I wish to atone for all of my countless crimes." And the people are like, "What's gotten into you, Harold?" And then we get this cool. In the classic sense of a character in One Piece who is making an impassioned speech, backed by ideals. He says, "I may be out of the country more often than I'd wish, but it is only to join hands with our neighbors and ask them to teach us their culture. If we learn from the rest of the world, we can make our land and lives richer." So he has, learned the lesson of cultural exchange from all these places he's seen. And some hooligans in the crowd are, they're jeering at him. "Yeah, but Dory and Brogy are still raising hell out there."
Yeah, tell us where the One Piece is.
And Harold says,
And Harold responds, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah, this is 105 years ago. Nobody would have any idea.
No, I'm...
yeah.
Who the hell is John F. Kennedy?
Says, of Dory and Brogy, he says, "They are good friends of mine, but they have always been eccentric. They're cordial with humankind and follow a code of honor." And the crowd is like, "Oh yeah, that's true. It doesn't hurt that they can fight, of course, but if they pose too much of a threat to other nations, we may have to rein them in." And then we see Jarl and Yorl here, slightly younger than we're used to seeing them. And one of them says, "Zababababa, what a turnabout. Bojajajaja, meeting new people took him on a journey." And they conclude that Elbaf is blessed with good luck. We see the ship is sailing on, presumably for his mission of diplomacy.
Kirsten.
Will the good luck last? Probably Jarl and or Yorl saying, "For example," or no, I guess this might be whatever.
Could be Ida.
No, I thought this
Ida.
was Harold continuing.
Oh, it says Harold.
this-
Okay.
Yeah.
For
I thought it was
example,
the continuation of the speech he was giving already. Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah. For example, by sending diplomats back and forth, we can help deepen the ties and friendship between nations. I see. So we're taking hostages then. Don't say it like that. It means that countries that can't get to be friends unless the people in them are connected somehow. And over this, we see various cuts of Harold giving Town a giant bottle of liquor.
You want alcohol? Here's all the alcohol you could drink.
Make a pool of the alcohol.
Good swimming.
Harold is working in Hell's Ironic Punishments Division.
I mean, he would.
And that's followed by a cute little panel of Harold journaling while Ida snoozes in the corner. Now we have Elbaf.
It's very cozy, very cute of them.
They're so cute. It's not fair.
This is like almost a total mirror image of Kobe's training montage when he was scribbling notes and Helmeppo is snoozing with the bubble.
So they are a couple.
That's what I get
exactly.
From that.
Exactly.
Are you talking about Harold and Ida? Like that's how we're determining? Yeah.
Yes.
Of course,
Zach.
Helmeppo and Kobe are. I was being facetious. Okay.
I don't think that's being facetious.
No, I wasn't being. No, I'm saying like obviously
being
Kobe and
facetious.
Helmeppo. Okay. Continue.
Now we're at Elbaf 81 years ago. Fisherman Village, Eastern Elbaf.
This is 24 years after the last scene.
Quite. It's all a hubbub with people shouting, "The baby's been born! Congratulations, Harold and Ida!" And Harold says, "Thank you all! Now Ida and I can!" And then a bunch of shadowy figures saying, "No, you are forbidden from marrying her. The royal line must remain pure of blood." Definitely,
Oh, fuck them.
They definitely did not wait for Jesus, let me tell you.
Yeah, and shadowy figures, by the way.
How dare you? How dare you insult giant Jesus?
I'll write it down, but I don't know if we're taking it.
Up there on the giant cross.
It is funny that just the little thing of the baby is born, so now they can get married. It's very different than many cultures.
Different
It's
cultures.
going to work.
That's the giant way, right?
It's the giant way.
How dare you insult giant baby Jesus?
Giant Jesus said, "I don't consent."
Isn't there someone you forgot? It's the baby.
And cut to Harold and Ida in a village somewhere in Elbaf with Harold saying, "I'm sorry, Ida. It galls me that I must come to this." And Ida saying, "This is just how the culture works. You can't get emotional and fight against it." Being just a champ, to understate it. What a champ.
It
And the
surprises
guy's
me that
saying-
Harold is just kind of going with this.
Yeah. It makes me wonder who the shadowy assholes are.
Yeah. I
mean,
guess
I guess-
Harold really has changed. He's mellowed out.
Yeah.
He does seem very he's just kind of rolling over and taking it. But I do think that if he had to, Oda would probably explain that he needs to unify the nations, and there's the chieftains and other powerful people who will revolt if he doesn't, fulfill their expectations and so on. So he could probably explain it that way, but in the moment, in the way it's presented here, it does look like he's just well, nothing I can do.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
shadowy figures are kind of a stand-in for that.
Yeah.
Probably.
I guess. Just feels like Harold's the king of Elbaf. He should be. You imagine he's like the strongest guy.
And based on what
Right?
we've seen of Ida, this is
It's not
she's
just about
remarkably
strength.
cool about this as well.
Yet she, I think the one thing we're getting.
She should be feistier about this.
Yeah, no, but her whole personality.
She doesn't want to be queen.
No, who wants that?
She's
But
just happy to be there.
yeah, I just am happy I haven't died yet. I'm a mother in this story. I'm still alive. Yeah, I think a lot of her personality though is the easygoingness of. Yeah, it is. I also, particularly in what comes next, I was a little surprised.
Do you like that there are hearts emanating from Harold's fist here?
I don't think that's what that is, but yes. I think the hearts are
it's just-
from the people, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
But, you know, do hearts not emanate from your fist?
He's giving his baby a little fist bump.
Yeah, don't do that to your
hurts.
baby. Oh, no. Oh, don't punch your baby in the head accidentally. Oh, no.
The villagers do love her, though. They're shouting, "You're always welcome in our village, Ida."
Yeah,
And
you're
Ida's-
welcome anywhere except, you know, being queen and marrying him. We love you,
guess.
though, otherwise. Just forget
Yeah, we're
that.
one of the good ones.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Oh, God. And cut to Ida with an incredibly cute little baby Haruden saying, "As long as you live in the same country as Daddy, you'll be happy, right, Haruden?" And little Haruden goes, "Ah!" Just a mother loving her son. And now, speaking of, here she comes. Someone shouting, "This is your true betrothed, Harold? Estrid's blood is pure and ancient. She is worthy of being our queen." And lo and behold, we have a shining woman, a literally shining woman. Elbaf, Brewer's Village prestigious daughter, Estrid. And she says, "I was born in the Brewer's Village to the north, and I study geomancy." The
Wonder what that means.
Shit. Your
I mean, it's,
impression is excellent.
Thank you.
Brewers Village. She's from Milwaukee.
It's because I live close to Milwaukee. That's why I. And the shadowy figures from before lurk in the background again as she speaks, and she says, "It is my fate to love you for the rest of my life. Forget all about that woman and the child to the east." And Harold goes,
sorry, this is confusingly placed, but the shrouded figures are the ones saying, "This is your true betrothed, Harold."
Yes,
Estrid's
yeah.
blood is
Yeah.
pure and ancient." Yeah, it is a weird placement there. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
but she's putting her hand on his neck.
It's a power move.
Power move.
Yes, you will forget all about your child.
All shining in hearts. And Harold goes, "Oh, that's no, I." And Estrid goes, "Good heavens, the spirit is escaping to the east. Your good luck is getting away. We must close those windows at once." And Harold goes, "Huh?" And she goes, "And that mirror, it's in the 5-star kill position. Destroy it at once."
So this is feng shui.
The hell
it
is this
sounds
feng
like.
shui?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the geomancy.
Geomancy.
So the
yeah.
feng shui in Chinese characters is wind and water, and so what Oda called it here was earth and wind. But it's very clear, you know, when she starts talking. Oh, she's talking about feng shui. It's the flow of energy in the building and all that stuff.
And next, she presents a giant horse and says, "This is Asla, the horse of good fortune. It's a gift from my clan, the perfect mount for you, King Harold. I have no doubt that this horse will bring you great luck." To which one of Harold's guards say, "It's enormous, and why does it have 8 legs?"
I seriously thought my eyes were freaking out when I first saw this horse. Like, it's like an optical illusion. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's...
It's like one of those magic eye paintings.
Yeah, well, kind of. Or it's like
You ever
the,
look at a horse and just know he's a douchebag?
Yeah, I saw Cavendish's horse.
No, he's chill.
Yeah, we love Cavendish and his horse.
Does anyone remember the name of Cavendish's horse?
I think it was
Absolutely not.
Farrell.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, yes.
Wow, Ed.
Yes,
You're right.
that's right.
Hell yeah.
I thought I knew too
gonna say,
much
like-
with Hakumai, but you
There's like-
just...
There's like Ganondorf's horse, just
Oh, Ganondorf's horse is cool.
dickish horses.
Dickish.
You know, just
We should
Yeah,
make a
the
list.
mane on this horse, like the
are
straight up
dicks.
little. Yeah, those
It-
are dicks.
It's
Well, I was
going-
gonna
it's
say
going the wrong
candle.
way.
I was gonna say candles, Zach. but Okay.
No, you said it
Dick's
was a
on fire.
dickish horse, and so that's... just what I had to say.
What could be more masculine than this is on fire?
Steve, are you drawing that for the image?
No, I don't feel like drawing a physical depiction of gonorrhea.
Oh, you broke me.
Yeah, in case anyone is not familiar with their Norse mythology, this is a very clear reference to Sleipnir, the 8-legged horse that
Totally
Pegasus.
knew that.
Oh.
Totally knew
yeah. That is that Odin's horse or is that Thor's? I forget. It's but yeah, it's a very famous mythological beast.
Yeah, I know tons about Norse horses.
Norses.
Norses.
We all said it simultaneously, so it's therefore not a good joke.
New Norses.
And yet
What do the specials think?
Estrid's on.
Sorry, that was just a joke for me and like 6 other people. Go ahead.
Guards, bring all the jewels and gold in the treasury to my chambers. And they go, huh? And she says, this is to ensure that the fortunes of wind and earth are sent in his majesty's direction. Also, inform the scullery maids that from this day forward, the king and I will be using the fine silver to eat all our meals. And one of the guards asks, is she just after luxury? Probably.
No, that's
that way.
Wapple's wife.
Yeah.
She has the laugh that's specifically...
Was it Gold Diggerella? What is her name again?
No, that's her laugh. Gold
Yeah.
dig. I
Gold
think
dig,
that's
dig,
her-
That's
dig.
right.
Yeah.
I was joking, but I
Kill-
actually
wasn't it
can't
like
remember.
Kinderella?
It's like Kinderella.
Kinderella, yeah, where kin
Yeah.
means gold.
Yes.
Quinton.
Now,
You know, the joke from Amazon Lily.
Yep.
about 70 years ago, in an era when the rigors of the sea made it difficult to maintain trade between islands, Elbaf's
So this is 11 years after the last scene.
Yes. Elbaf's skill at navigation was the envy of other nations. And, cut to the ship. Is that
Yes,
Wano?
Eldaf has all the spice.
They got all the spice. They're looking for all the spice.
By the way, that looks like Wano, right?
I was going to
Right.
say that, yeah.
Yeah.
And that is what the spice is used for in Dune, is for intergalactic navigation.
Let's move on from Dune.
There are some people who will never move on from Dune.
It's true.
Harold here.
Yeah, Zendaya wanted to stay on the planet, so
I have no more Dune jokes. Anyway,
no, please, you're not.
You were
don't feel
really,
inclined.
I saw you thinking of like, oh, what do I say here?
I
Please.
was gonna make a joke about the end of the movie, and then I was
Well,
like,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
so-
for the it's don't
for
want
just
to
me and
spoil.
like 3 other people. Thank you.
Yeah, you're not. It's fine.
Oh.
Anyway, Harold here holding up a ship saying, "There's a star to the north that never moves called the Pole Star." And all the people in the ship that he's holding goes, "Ooh, ah."
Please make this giant man let go of the ship. just pretend you're interested in him telling us basic facts about navigation.
Yeah, I like the implication that this is like the gif of like Drake showing Lil Yachty on the laptop, like, oh, you look at the stars, and they're like, oh my god, why didn't we think to look at the stars before?
Wait, those are stars? I thought my eyes had issues. Oh, I can. Okay, it's not glaucoma. Great.
And then cut to Harold talking to. Do we think this is Elbaf? Or not Elbaf?
No,
yeah, they look like they got the Viking
Oh yeah,
hats
yeah.
on.
I'm sorry. Yes.
But they also look kind of small.
I
Well,
think they're
he's
children.
big, and they're
Is there a
mostly
panda
children.
man down
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, next to the big bear.
next to an actual panda? No, I'm just kidding. I don't think that's a panda.
And the crowd goes, "You said you made a mermaid king, Harold?" And he goes, "Yes, I have at last. Fishmen, too. In the kingdom where those with fish blood live, their king has a newborn heir named Neptune." We know that guy. All the creatures of the
cares?
sea, not just...
Why are you
Not
telling
just
us names?
I
It's
don't care.
irrelevant to your story.
Proper nouns. All the creatures of the sea, not just the mermaids and fishmen, were engaged in a grand celebration that spanned the sea floor. And they also go, woo!
Get to the good
Now
part.
cut. Oris.
Yeah, Perry, pipe down over there.
Oh.
Now cut to Oris Castle, Elbaf, 63 years ago, while Harald was away from home. Congratulations, my queen. It's a very healthy boy. His name is Loki. The king and I decided on it. Show me my baby.
I'm sure this will go just as I planned. Dr. Gomez.
This is gonna... No one mourns the wicked.
Oh no, let's not start that. I'm gonna be singing the whole time. So just like we predicted, the baby opens his eyes in the next panel, and there's like evil, almost like snake-looking eyes. And Esther is like, "What? Oh, it's terrifying!" And she falls, I believe, out of the bed and hits a table. And people are like, "Your Majesty!" And she's like, "It's horrid. What is that thing? That is no son of mine." And
It's Bat Child.
And the other giant's like, "Please, Your Majesty, try to remain calm." And she's like shaking, and Oscar, "Tell the kingdom that it was a stillborn." They're like, "You can't be serious." And then he's like, "Ah, it's a curse. Just look at the baby.
That's such
it's a monster."
That's such a cute baby panel at the bottom there.
It reminds me of Gash from Gash Bell.
That is so beyond me too.
Or the cursed child from Dororo.
Also lost on me.
I'll point out too that just a little note here that both Baby Loki and Baby Hyrodin have the same like 3A sound.
That's what babies make.
Yeah.
That's what they say. They say ah.
They're calling to get towed.
Triple A.
If I know one thing about babies is that the only thing they say are 3 A's in a row sequentially. Yeah, please.
But it is an adorable baby. Anyway, so she's like, "It's a monster." And then on the next panel, we see the baby's hands reaching out. And the narrator says, "The Prince of Elbaf grasps for their empty air." And then he starts crying, but no hands reach out to envelop his own. And then I think she grabs the baby and starts running out. "Stop, Your Majesty. He's a royal heir." And I think in the next panel, we just see her like throwing the baby down. And then
She just
the
yeets that
narration.
poor baby.
Yeah, the narrator says, "The most unfortunate of all living creatures is the one whose very existence is denied by its mother in the moment of its birth. Do you hear me? I bore no child. Do not tell a soul about this." And we see the little baby falling down to the underworld, sadly.
I have no son.
Hideous, adorable, adorable.
I definitely had to avoid, or Oda didn't quite line it up perfectly for me to have to avoid this, but I was definitely thinking about, Rosemary's Baby, when she's like, "What have you done to its eyes?" At the end of that movie, if you've ever seen that.
Have not, but I will.
As we continue forward, so Ida, I think she's still holding the baby on that panel. So is that before she throws the baby, or is she holding something else on her arm?
No, she's
that's
just
the
packing up
gold.
all the jewels. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Estrid.
So she's Esther, yeah.
That's
Like,
true, yeah.
for the purposes of this discussion, Estrid is portrayed by Sharon Tate.
Yeah.
She's holding down, and she's like, they're asking her, "What are you planning to do?" "I'm going back home. I never want to bear another child. Your Majesty." "Head guardsman," she calls them. "Down in the underworld." And the guard tells her, she's like, "What about the underworld?" As she looks so angry about it.
And on the final page, sorry.
Oh, I was
like
just gonna comment that it's quite wild that she's like so active and up and about immediately after giving birth.
Yep.
Yes, she's animated by hatred.
It's the giant
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, you know what's better than an epidural? Hatred.
And jewelry.
And jewelry. Yeah.
That too.
And jewelry.
And manga.
Garugamesh.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys like the drum arc?
Yeah, on the next page, we see Luffy climbing. Wait a second. Luffy wasn't a baby when he did that. And Luffy didn't have horns. Anyway, this is Loki. We see climbing very much like that Drum Island arc. Also equally, devastating in a different way.
And his fingers aren't bleeding, though.
Yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
But he's bleeding from several other places, including his head. As he is trying to scale the mountain of the underworld, slowly. I guess this
it's a
also, what? Or the I'm
tree.
sorry. What did I say? The mountain. How could I think it's a mountain when it's a giant tree in the middle? Yeah, trying to go up the bark of the tree. And below, what are we seeing in that middle panel?
It looks like a bear's body that
Oh,
has
it's
its
yeah. It's
head
a,
severed.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
I thought there were shadows for a second, but no, it's
Yeah, I thought it was just like smoke blowing in the wind.
It's
or
like an
something.
ink blot test, whatever you see there. Steven, you have some issues. That's what I got from that. No,
so Loki
no
had to-
I think
oh.
so. That sounds right.
So is the idea that Loki landed, killed a bear, and then is crawling up?
Yeah, that's what he
Yeah.
did
Ooh.
on route to trying to get back up.
As a baby usually would. To be fair,
yeah.
yeah.
Hey, some conquerors are born holding a clump of blood in their hands. Pfft. Kid stuff. Loki, kill
No,
the bear.
let's be honest. Loki thought this was a teddy bear and just
He
hugged
hugged
it
him
too
too
hard.
hard. Yes.
Oh yeah, the kids that rip the heads off of teddy bears are totally.
He
on
didn't
the
rip
up
the
and up.
head
Yeah,
off. He
that's-
just did like an arm squeeze and
Hugged
it,
it too hard. Yeah.
Wait.
popped off.
Maybe that was just from falling. He just like landed on the neck.
Or he just landed on. You know how that happens.
Someone better tell little Loki about the rabbits, I guess.
What are the chances? He landed on my neck. Anyway, yes. So Loki does not. I mean, he's crying, upset, going up. I still feel for him. That bear deserved it.
No, that's just the cold air.
Yeah. Anyway, Queen Estrid fell ill. She was a mother.
Probably
That
'cause
was
she
her.
moved.
She moved
Immediately
probably,
after labor.
probably shouldn't have ran and thrown her child off of the top of a giant tree while right after giving birth.
Yeah, what was that? A J. Walter Weatherman. What was that? What was the
Why
guy
you
from?
always leave a note?
And that's why
Yeah,
you
exactly, yeah.
And that's why you never throw your child off a giant tree right after you give birth,
Or get up
Yes.
after
or get
giving
up
birth.
immediately.
One or the other is fine, just not both.
Yeah, don't do both. You can do one. Wait a second. No, you can't. One of those you can't do. It is extremely illegal, immoral, and awful. Anyway, so yeah,
Standing
from
up?
now that Queen Estrid is a mother, she could now die. But this mother deserves it. As she says, get rid of the child. There was a prophecy before it was even born, and I'm going to make it up right now. The prophecy said that King Harold would one day be killed by his own son. Isn't that a good one? I just thought of that. And he's like, not that shit again. You're just such an idiot. Oh, did I say that out loud? And meanwhile, we see what has Harold been up to while his baby was thrown off the top of a tree. He was busy banging his head, metaphorically speaking, against the problems of national relations. And he's like, ugh, freaking national relations. The world government has stepped in to block our path again. Why can't countries be free to decide for themselves? And nothing political. And we have, this took me a second. This is Hyruden's mom, Ida, saying, hey, can I see your baby, the baby too? He's your brother. Hyruden.
Yeah. Hyruden in his familiar helmet now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think he's like a 6-year-old here-ish. So he's probably like 87. Saying, he's not your son, so he's not my brother. And he says, aw, you're even sweet when you're like a angsty little kid. Aw. Yeah, that's the least.
She does look like she's like another kid next to him.
Well, because she's leaning down. It took me a second.
It's the way he drew it.
Yeah.
And she aggressively squeezes his cute cheeks.
I do that, so that is how that is done. And all of the misfortunes that would befall upon Elbaf would be known as Loki's curse. We could have come up with something more original, so that's what we're calling it. Loki's curse.
He dressed himself.
Yeah, he's like.
So we're calling it Loki's curse.
calling it Loki's curse. Yeah, I can't think of any. Loki's curse, but with more. What was it? With more. Whatever. And the manga is off next week, so that'll give time for Loki to grow up and decide.
Time for Oda to go to Los Angeles, maybe.
Yeah, and Otani will be drawing next week's chapter of the manga. We'll see how that goes.
God, he can do everything.
And Oda will pitch for the game.
I think Oda would be very happy with that trade. Anyway, thoughts on the chapter, Dr. Gomez. First, what did you think?
I think the story is really cute so far, except for, of course, dropping baby Loki down the window like that. I think the baby's eyes are adorable, and Harald's backstory, I think him and Ida were like the perfect couple, so I cannot wait to see how she tragically dies for some reason and he's like completely destroyed by it, because we're following tropes and the cycles of the story. But I think it was a really fun chapter. I'm happy to see the reveal of the eyes for Loki. I think we were all kind of debating what was going to be with underneath those bandages, so now I wonder if he covered those eyes for a reason, because people thought he was evil, or because something else. But yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little more self-evident why he did it, just given the reaction that, to be fair, this real awful woman had.
Was it Lola or Chiffon who was supposed to get married to Loki?
Lola.
Lola.
Ed, what were your thoughts
Loki
on the
proposed
chapter?
to Lola, and
Yeah, it was. This really deepens the character of Hyruden and Loki, and introducing the mothers is something I'd mentioned last week that I wanted to see. And it's interesting that the effect that Ida had the really sort of positive effect on Harold's sort of outlook, but Queen Asterd is like exactly the opposite. It's her curse, really. She did it.
Yeah, she could have just loved that baby, and we would not be having an issue.
Did this prophecy about him killing King Harold come up before in this flashback?
Not in this flashback, but it was mentioned before that there was a prophecy.
I do have another question.
She definitely just made it up, though. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, was the horse the first mythical creature that we've seen that doesn't come from a devil fruit?
We don't know if it comes from a devil fruit or not.
Well, yeah, we don't know that yet, but I was just thinking about that. It did have black flames, what it looked like black flames on the back.
Oh, well, what about all the ones from Wano? I mean, you could say, right?
Yeah,
That's
they're
true.
kind of like folklore creatures, right?
Yeah. Like Kumachio. Or no, Komachio. I just said bear lion.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see how all this affects Harold's outlook going forward, and what exactly is his conflict with the world government. He is resisting joining the world government, it seems.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I mean,
that was during the Void Century, and this was only like 60 years ago.
No, I think, well, we know what happens with... We know that the Holy Knights or Emu, in some regard, try and approach him, and that they have some sort of deal that goes awry at some point. So... But it also doesn't seem... It doesn't seem like he has a full grasp of what the world government is here. Yeah. Which would
I'm curious
make sense.
about how this affects his motivations going forward. Like, does he have a relationship with his children, and what happens to Ida going forward? That's
right.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Because I think they have a very cute relationship, and I hope nothing bad happens to her.
Oh,
but
well.
her son is a pirate, so probably not.
That's
she
not
might
really
be.
the reason, even.
Yeah. Now, Hyrule does become a pirate, so that's not boding well for her.
Yeah. Anything else, Ed?
But yeah, very good. Deepens my interest in Elbaf and these characters in general.
Kirsten.
Yeah, excellent chapter. I love both Ida and Estrid for completely different reasons. It's Ida, right? Not Ida.
Ida, yeah.
Yeah, something about her design. She's so like that tuft of hair. Like she's so spunky and fun. And
She's got unique lips, I think.
yeah, the lips are great. Her nose is great.
Very
her like
expressive.
eyes, yeah. Like it's a really unique design. And oh god, I really hope we just go against type and she's still alive and it's gonna be fine. I can't remember if Harden and Loki have talked about her. I feel like they talked about her in a sort of vague sense, but I'm gonna have to go back and look that up. But and then on the other hand, Estrid is immaculate. She is the absolute worst. Perfect. I love how when she is first introduced, like there are just so many glimmers and like shiny, like Oda really goes out of the way to just put those little shines in every single panel she's
Very
in.
sparkly. Yeah.
It's so funny. And then the second Loki is introduced, like he draws her so ugly. It's like a real Dorian Gray moment, you know, where like she seems very like beautiful, and then we see what's really in her heart. And even as she's calling the baby a monster, like she's the one that looks like a monster. There's so much about the characters in such little time. It's fantastic. And yeah, those two little panels of just Loki's little hands reaching up and no one being there, followed by like the single eye with a tear. It's heartbreaking.
You do feel sorry for Loki, which is kind of hard to believe. But how could you not?
I mean, I think, I personally was assuming this kind of thing would be the case, right? That like Loki would be the victim of some terrible circumstance. And it's like, I mean, the narrative itself tells you, like,
I mean, he hasn't done anything yet.
literally
besides
has
be
done
born.
nothing. It does remind me of Wicked.
Of who?
Of Wicked.
Oh, yeah.
Elphaba's
Right.
born and they, want to throw her away. That was my first thought.
Did Oda finally get dragged along to a screening of Wicked, just rolling his eyes at his wife like, oh yeah, fine, I'll go see your stupid Broadway musical movie. And then he's sitting there, he's like,
I could use that.
no one wants a baby, eh? Jeff Goldblum talk singing, eh?
Yeah. Those are my main thoughts. I'm excited to see what happens if either of the wives live.
Which wife
Well,
will live?
there's only one wife, and that's made
That's
clear.
true. Which
That's
mom
true.
will live? Which mom
Yeah,
will
which
live?
mom will live?
It's the battle of the moms.
The battle of the moms. I think Estrid.
Neither.
Estrid definitely is marked, but holding out for Ida.
Especially Estrid, but especially Ida. We did Ida.
Good job, Zach.
Shut up. Steven.
Yeah, I would echo a lot of Kirsten's observations there. I do really like the contrast between the two women, and I think that the way that he portrays Estrid in particular is so efficiently done. I had fun kind of like extracting certain details, like if you notice after we first see Loki and Estrid has her kind of her heel turn, if you will, that she only refers to I made sure that she only refers to Loki as it, and kind of dehumanizes or degiantizes, I guess. It's interesting to consider that given that Harold has the ancient giant blood and the horns, and that she is said to have had the pure ancient blood as well, that there is almost like a kind of a moral lesson here, or fate of like, yeah, this is what happens when you these are the things that can happen when you fixate on blood in this way. This is like the reward that you get for the very thing that you prize the most, is that
eugenics almost. Yeah, like that,
yeah,
like
it's like, right, you get the
Yeah.
baby that you think is hideous, and of course that leads to this cycle of misery here. And so there's a lot of kind of, I guess, rich justice.
And Harold's like, the horns, that's my boy.
yeah.
Hyrodin looks more like a generic Elbathian.
He does, yeah. And yeah, it's so interesting to see, not just the contrast between the mothers, but of course the sons as well, and how they grow up. I'm interested to see if we see more of that in the next chapter, now that Loki is a child with his own agency, as we can see at the end of this chapter. But I love Ida as well. Like, what a great design to make this incredibly lovable character, who also has, by the symbology of like Oda's design, has kind of quote unquote ugly features, or not his standard, like, this is top shelf, like, attractive woman in the world of One Piece type of features.
It's interesting, and of course, how like it's kind of the trope of like the true love civilizes the bad boy.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. That she's the one who teaches him how to be a civilized person, and the joys of cultural exchange and all of these things, and so that stuff definitely hit pretty hard for me in this chapter. I did love that stuff, and just like, what an efficient chapter. Like, it's so dense, there's so much that happens, but it didn't feel like hard to follow at all. I think it helps that like they're very kind of well-worn tropes that he's working with, but he wielded them so expertly. And so you really get a ton of story in just 17 pages, and it all, it all works very seamlessly, I think. In the parts where he kind of skips over, like with the shadowy shapes kind of representing, I guess, the whatever the sort of conservative cultural forces that have certain expectations that must be followed, just kind of. Just kind of yada yada over that part of the story, so that we can move on to.
I like how it kind of. I like how it kind of like dehumanizes that, like the like this, like, not wasting the time on
to like develop a character who represents that stuff. Yeah,
which I kind of like. I like. I don't know. I don't have anything to compare it to, but I think it's different than what he normally does. I feel like normally you get, character X doing, like, oh, but you have to do this, my liege.
Even if he doesn't give him a name, he usually designs a little, background character.
Right, exactly.
But But yeah, that's really, really solid chapter. I really enjoyed it. A great way to do the Loki eye reveal too. I think like having saved that all for this particular moment, I think makes it hit a lot harder. It's very cool.
Now we get to wonder what the adult version of that looks like.
Yeah,
I assume similar. But it's also nice that we're not just getting a Doflamingo gag with that. Like, that had been...
right, that you never get to see, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he has other glasses under that. Sam, your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought this was a good chapter. I don't have too much more to add. I mean, I like that Ida is a very refreshing, like, non-conventional Oda girl. Like, it's
She's spunky.
Well, yeah, she has like features that are like kind of walking towards the line of like a character who you might designate as ugly, though she's definitely not ugly, but she's a little goofier looking than like Estrid for sure.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Like she's almost dressed in modern clothing. It seems like with that top that she's wearing.
Yeah.
I was going to mention
cargo pants.
I was going to mention
Yeah,
that.
she's got like cargo pants on it. Yeah.
And Estrid is wearing like flowing robes. Like almost looks like alabaster robes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I found myself thinking comparing it a lot to Odin's story. Like Odin's like also like a wild child, sort of very very violent, I guess prince or member of royalty of sorts, who.
But he just happens to trip over a woman traveling through time who is also a noble from the same country as him.
I did notice a lot of the parallels with Odin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
sure.
violent man softens up through his journeys, becomes kind of a martyr of responsibility to his kingdom. Like
all
Odin
his friends say, "You used to be cool, man."
Odin definitely leaves a much stronger impression from his wild days in his early chapters, but unlike one of the key central conflicts of the Wano arc is the whole like, do we want to open up to the rest of the world or not? And they've so far been erring on the side of not, and Harold's like, yes, like let's connect everybody as much as possible.
We should have the right to choose whether or not we do or not.
Well, let's open up trade completely. Like let's bridge all these. Let's set all these bridges up between the different countries of the world. And so like that's it's interesting that they are so different in that regard, and it's I wonder if that contrast will dovetail in any way as the series goes in the future. And yeah, the image of baby Loki beat up and bloodied and climbing up the tree is pretty striking, and I think that's interesting.
And I think, Stephen, you mentioned that it was referenced that Saul was also from the South Blue, so I feel like that should be a question someone's going to ask in the SBS about, are they from the same giant island? It's like, I noticed that they're both from the South Blue. What's up with that? And that's the kind of question I think would get in the SBS.
I absolutely agree.
Sam, anything else?
I think that does it.
Steve?
Okay. Steven, thank you so much for your words, because you kind of covered a lot of what I was going to say. And Sam, too. Just like Ida, I love Ida a lot. I think we already pointed out, like, oh, she's, not a conventionally attractive character normally, You think it would be the reverse, where it's like, oh, it's the conventionally attractive woman who with a heart of gold, and then, oh, I gotta marry this, crone or something like that. I'm glad Oda did something different.
It's kind of Beauty and the Beastie almost.
I don't know. Ida's a 10, so
she's great.
I love her a lot. This was this was just such an endearing opening to this chapter, and I think Stephen said this too. I'll kind of steal what he said. It's just, it's dense, but I don't feel like we were rushing through this. Even as good as those flashbacks were, I feel like there was times with Odin and Kuma's flashbacks, like, wow, we're really kind of we're breezing here. I think Kuma's more than Odin's, but this one, like, there was so much going on, yet it just felt like it was paced like to perfection, really. And I think, one of my big gripes with a lot of Elbaf was just sense of scale here, and I think this chapter really nailed it. It just was a lot more of these, upward shots of just seeing, like, normal sized people compared to these giants. Like, really adorable panels here, and just, I think the artwork has been great. Like, it doesn't feel like this was rushed. Like, some great compositions here, and like the Loki reveal with the eyes is great. What a perfect way to introduce this, and I'm curious exactly what this means, because for Harold to have a son with Estrid, I'm guessing she's of the same lineage, that type of giant, but I guess this is a little bit different. There's something off here, I guess. Yeah, because it's obvious Harold doesn't have these kinds of eyes. So she's a real piece of work. But I thought, what a great moment here. Just you cut to this spread here, and then using some familiar imagery from One Piece Pass, like showing Loki climbing up this tree. It's like, oh, you know this kind of deal. Like, Luffy did this on drums, so you understand, like, oh yeah, eventually he's going to be grabbing a piece and his fingers are going to split open. It's like that intense. I thought it was just a really great callback to that. And this is just like a chapter and a tenth of this flashback, and I just think it's been great so far. It's a really good chapter. I know I've said sometimes, like, oh, this is a good chapter. Like, this one is just like, it left me with like a lot to like think about and a lot to enjoy, and just like a lot of cute moments too. Like, I really like the one with Ida and like the young Howardin, that we've seen from like Big Mom's flashback and the SBS. But this political intrigue here is interesting. Can't wait to see how the world government's gonna fuck over Harold here, and it's keeping me guessing here, because we're saying like, oh yeah, Harold was actually corrupt and all that, but I think there's a lot more layers to this, and I can't wait to see how this plays out. And Loki just continues to be a fascinating character. Like, I could see if they ever do another character poll. I'd be surprised if they did, though. One Piece, so much changes so quickly. So I think the character popularity polls are always very interesting.
Yeah, I want to see Loki get older and see what him have his own opinions about this.
He's got a chip on his shoulder the size of probably, I don't know, the Grand Canyon, because they're giants. I'm curious of where Loki, like, talking about the fan popularities, I would really love to see if Loki is really resonating with other fans like he is for me, at least. I think he's a great addition to the cast. And it's a shame that we have a break next week, but I'm looking forward to seeing this flashback continue.
Yeah, I don't have a ton. I mean, I think everyone hit it on the head. I think Oda could show that despite the fact that we're in chapter 1153 of this manga, that he could tell a really, really concise story with completely new characters and get you invested in them quickly. And that is not an easy task anywhere, but it's like, I forget that Oda can do that kind of storytelling, because we've been doing such epic, grand, like, oh, we got to get this little thing done in a chapter. Are we ever going to do it? And then here you're like introduced to this completely different world of characters and story. And yet, as Steve mentioned, it didn't feel rushed. And it felt like we were able to sit with all the moments we needed to sit with. I love also the amount of growth that this character has within like 3 or 4 pages, and yet it also does not feel rushed. He goes from the snotty little kid, I mean that literally because he throws a giant piece of snot at the boat, to being this like master political, or at least this very aspirational political figure within half of this chapter is insane, and yet is done with complete, it's believable. It's really fantastic. And Ed, I was watching, I know you turned me on to Rick Steves, but I was watching, he recently, I think, got diagnosed with, forget which kind of cancer, but they were asking him like to be, they were being introspective, and they were asking him, what the biggest takeaway from his travels are generally, and it's the ability to learn as both like a pilgrim of the world, like in that you are growing because you are able to learn from the world and take that away from it.
A job I had, we had the series collection of 70-something episodes of Rick Steves Europe, and watch those in downtime.
Yeah, and he's very, look, he's not exactly my cup of tea, but he is very well spoken in
if you watch the show, just take a shot every time he says the word evocative.
That sounds right.
His favorite word.
That sounds right. But I thought the idea that cultural exchange and really putting yourself out there, I think he said, the traveling to be a local and not to be a tourist, like a temporary local instead of, traveling to just see things, but actually being in them, helps you grow as a person. And I think Oda really masterfully represents that sort of ideal. And when I could say from any trips I have taken in the past, it has made me more open and a more tolerant and understanding person, and just because you're able to see other people in other places trying to be themselves and live their lives. And I mean, a lot of the world could learn those lessons today, and it feels very I know Oda doesn't want to step in politics, but he always does. And I feel like there is definitely a lot of that here. He is very explicit in this chapter about, and he's, to be fair, he is the one political issue I feel like he is very vocal about is the idea that we have to connect with the world, and that is a super crucial. That's one of the most crucial parts of One Piece. It's we're citizens of the world. We all have to kind of be able to live with each other and get past petty, small differences. No pun intended with the giants. And it definitely gets across here. It's like
a Strand game.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm going to pretend I get that reference.
We all come from the same giant ocean of orange tang.
Is that what happens? I did not watch the movies, or the end of Ava. I stopped before that.
I'm sure it all ended well.
Okay, that sounds like Ava. But my point is, I think Oda does have a very optimistic view of humanity, and I think this is kind of portrays itself. But he also sees the dark side of it, which is also portrayed very vividly in this chapter, and I feel like he's really been coming after me personally as a parent, and maybe Alex could also attest now. I wanted him on just to kibitz about this, but it's crazy how visceral it feels to watch, particularly the pages with the hands, as you all mentioned. But that one panel on the bottom of 14 with him reaching out is just such a baby look. I feel like I have gotten that, eyes accepted here. That's just a very heartbreaking. The whole thing is really heartbreaking, and hurts to look at. Obviously, it's one of those things that's I have a daughter, so I understand how women feel. Like, I understand how babies, that I should be compassionate to babies even before I had them. But it definitely puts it in a completely different feel for me. He, like that, I think, I'd say since this arc in particular, I feel like has really been Oda expressing ideas of fatherhood in a way, like, it's just really on his sleeve in this arc. All the stuff with the kids, and Greg talked a lot about it in the SGS, the choosing between your history and your future and your children being that impossible decision. But, like, you could feel like Oda is very invested in this sort of dynamic, and it really hits for me. I think everyone else said what, I loved about this chapter beyond that. Harold's great. Ida is great, and Estrid needs to die, and quickly. I apologize, Kirsten. I know how much you love.
What if we just never see her again?
I hate her, but I also love her.
I get it, but this is too far for me, and I do really love awful
She's
people.
The worst, and she does need to die. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But I do love that. Oh, we're having a prototypical looking Oda woman while she's also evil. He's done that, I feel like, before, but it's less that one is good looking and one is not. It's more that one is not the. It's like, as a reader of One Piece for 1100 chapters, you're expecting one thing and he switches it on you, and that, well, not that. Once she starts talking, Ida, that, but at least design wise, I did really appreciate that, and Ida is remarkably well designed. I think, like,
I was just reminded of that line from Bad Santa. Your soul is dog shit. Every single fucking thing about you is ugly.
Yeah. I haven't seen Bad Santa, but yes. Billy Bob Thornton, is that?
Yes.
Okay, of Princess Mononoke. Okay. So.
The very same.
I do know him. Any other thoughts on the chapter? Okay. Could talk about this more another time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, I gotta take off now, but enjoy the piece together, everybody.
Okay, thank you, Ed.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good
Good to see you.
Good night.
Bye, Ed.
Bye.
This is the anime recap for episode 1134, Cruel Fate, Kuma's Decision as a Father. I'm your host, Sam, and today with me we have Ice Road Trucker's very own Steve Yurko.
It's a dangerous job, especially in the summertime.
All right, so this is 1134. We are adapting. This is covering basically the entirety of chapter 1100, and we have a cold open with a. I wrote him down as young Kizaru, but he's basically the same Kizaru. He just has a fedora that he tips solemnly as he approaches the soon-to-be Egghead Island. He enters the lab, and he's making. He seems to have some familiarity with Vegapunk already. He's mentioning that this lab is cold, which is different from Punk Hazard. So I guess even before Aokiji and Akainu tore it up, Punk Hazard was a warm island.
Fascinating.
Kizaru reveals that the government had a secret transponder snail watching and listening in on Vegapunk, and that's why he was able to interrupt at this very appropriate time that he's making a deal with Kuma. And he says that Vegapunk should know better than to make deals with pirates. And this was possible because this is a new lab for Vegapunk, so he doesn't know every nook and cranny. So they were able to just like hide a transponder snail on one of the little like vent tube things. There's a host of Marines waiting outside on the island, just in case. And we can clearly see that one of these Marines is a young ex-Drake, Diaz Drake.
Diaz Drake, yes.
Diaz Drake. So Kizaru pulls up Saint Saturn on the phone so that he can join in on the conversation. And Saturn's main concern is that Kuma has this reputation as a pirate. And so he's proposing additional conditions on the deal. Since a pirate named Ace recently defeated one of the 7 warlords, Saturn suggests that Kuma could, as a way of saving face for the government working with a pirate like him, he could join the 7 warlords and take that open position. Saturn also wants Kuma to be modified alongside his clones, so like all the technological advancements that Vegapunk's going to be putting into the pacifistas, Kuma should adopt as well as a unique power to threaten pirates with. And because Kuma is also revolutionary, they don't fully trust him. They don't want him to be able to use his powers against the government at any point. So he also wants Kuma to abandon his mind and free will. And this heavy conversation is intercut with little Bonnie just like running through the lab, being carefree, bumping into like doctor ladies and stuff. Bonnie is just like extra cute in this episode. Like whenever they have to like give her an endearing expression of mischief, she's adorable.
Oh, they really do a good job making her like an adorable child in this.
Mm-hmm. And Vegapunk objects to this idea because he would basically be murdering Kuma if he were to turn him into a soulless robot. But Kuma agrees pretty much without a fight. He's face in hand. He's like tearing up, getting emotional. He's like, "Oh, I was so worried that the government would make such impossible demands. But if just giving up my free will and autonomy is all you need, well, that's a small price to pay. If Bonnie gets well, I will accept any fate." And Vegapunk is just kind of shocked. Like Kuma just seems to value himself so little, and he values Bonnie so much. We got a lot of cute like Bonnie playing with Sentomaru scenes.
Yeah, I was gonna ask with the close-up shot of him crying. Is that the first time we're seeing this, or have we seen it before? I've seen this one around so much.
Well, this has become like an iconic crying face of recent One Piece.
Okay,
I see people like replacing the dialogue to make it about other stuff, or doodling it in their homework or whatever.
Homework.
Yeah, I saw one recently. I infer that this is like a student and teacher who talk about One Piece already, and somebody like put the crying Kuma face as one of the answers to the question. The teacher was like 100 Kumachi.
But no, seriously, you failed the test.
Yeah, there's a lot of cute like Bonnie playing with Sentomaru scenes, like crawling between his legs and just giving him a hard time. We learn that so the timeline moving forward would have to be that Bonnie's surgeries, the actual work, the surgeries itself will take about 6 months, but then it'll still take about a year before she's considered to be fully healed and can go outside again. And Kuma's modifications, this mysterious free will stealing surgery, is a process that takes 2 years. So there's a 6 month period where the government is still not happy with the potential margin for error. And so, like basically the idea is that When Bonnie gets better, the government will take her into their custody until she's fully healed. After once Kuma's his autonomy is completely gone, once his modifications have completely taken, then they will allow Bonnie to be free. But until then, they have to take Bonnie into their own care and keep an eye on her and make sure that Kuma doesn't do any funny business before they are confident that he is fully theirs.
We got a scary reminder of that a little bit later.
Yeah. And we see Kizaru stepping out of the room looking troubled with kind of Sentomaru watching him, taking a note. You know, we're always trying to understand where Kizaru stands with some of his role in the government stuff. And we got Kuma comes back out. He's like, "Oh, I know she's a handful, but like, please look after her a little bit more." And then the pre-commercial break scene is Vegapunk working furiously with having a million ideas, writing down a million different notes, lamenting the fact that there aren't 5 more of him to offlay all the other daily stuff he wants to do, like eat and poop.
Yeah, I've said he wishes someone could poop for him.
Yeah. And that brings us to the eye catch of the episode. And we come back and more Bonnie like trying to pester Sentomaru to play. Sentomaru's trying to blow her off like, "Listen, kid, I don't have to play with you every single day." But then she kind of pouts a little bit and he breaks. We got scenes of like Kuma going through the big MRI machine looking thing. And when he comes back out from one of his daily surgeries, he comes out and Bonnie is riding Sentomaru like a horse. And he's like, "Look, Daddy, he's my horsey." And like Kuma with a little sweat drop is like, "Bonnie, please go easy on him." And Bonnie says, "Okay." But Sentomaru is like, "She does not mean that. Your words are not reaching her." We have a scene that we're kind of in montage mode now. We have a scene with Bonnie drawing a cute crayon drawing of Kuma, and them like Vegapunk coming in with them sleeping together with the drawing also next to them on the bed. There's a cute bit where Kuma's like lifting up a big metal tube thing that Bonnie is riding on, and like all the various workers at the laboratory are like, "Oh, that's so cute. That's a VIP spot, Bonnie. You're a VIP."
That made me awe.
Mm-hmm. Another day, Bonnie's wandering through the halls and she smells something. She goes running. They're making pizza. Just a big giant pizza on a big giant stove-looking thing. And throwing a pizza party. And everyone's enjoying the pizza together. And Bonnie and Kuma are like, "Oh, well, let's do the thing. Let's do our Nika dance thing." And they introduce the Nika dance to everybody in the lab. And
Let's
everybody
show them
starts,
our thing.
Yeah. Everybody starts doing the Nika dance. Sentomaru is just staying put and drinking, and Kizaru goes up to him like, "You're real fun at parties, huh?" And gets him to dance along. And we get a cool we get the instrumental like "We Are" party song version.
Yeah. Now Party, I think it might be called, something like that. I think this was a better soundtrack choice for sure, compared to the ragtime thing we were talking about last time.
Yeah, we pan up to the moon and we wonder about what kind of future is in store for us. 6 months later, Bonnie is looking good by Vegapunk's estimates. We can still see she has like the jewels on her face, but we're through the actual procedure part of her surgeries, and now it's just a matter of keeping her in good health for another year for her condition to completely clear up. And we can see like Kuma is starting to wear his like classic outfit that we're familiar with like the patterned hat and the big coat. But he's still got his like regular, he looks like he's wearing regular glasses. He hasn't like been fully cybernized.
Well, I think there's a moment later in this episode where it's just
Right.
like,
Yeah, I'm still not like entirely clear if that's just like an effect for the audience or.
I think
if it has anything to do with his with what he's wearing or what his eyes are made of now, or
I honestly don't think so. I think it's kind of just meant to be, there's not an actual explanation for it.
Mm-hmm.
He's meant to, because I think it's meant to show that he's intimidating and mysterious.
Right.
And because I think like,
but eventually he doesn't even have like frames after a point, right?
No, I think they've always been. The weird thing is like it's always been hard
Or it's
for
just
me
like
to
yeah,
figure out like, are these glasses or are they like his eyes? But then eventually, of course, it's his glasses. But I think if you could, we know some of Kuma's mysterious actions throughout the series. I think if you saw his eyes, you would know whether or not like, oh, is he for real or is he like on the Straw Hat side? What's he doing here?
Yeah, I'm just wondering
I think it's intentional. Yeah.
How diegetic is it? Is the question. Let's see, where was I in my notes? So Bonnie is asking Vegapunk if she can visit again when she's cured. She does not know that she's going to harbor a grudge for Vegapunk for the next few years. So Kuma brings her back to Sorbet Kingdom, brings her back to the church where they grew up. Or specifically, Bonnie would have grown up here, and Kuma a little bit grew up here. So now the Queen Dowager Connie is going to be looking after Bonnie again, as well as Alpha, a CP8 member, Khalifa's sister, I believe.
Yeah, answered in SBS. Yeah. But the turquoise hair, it was not.
Yeah, like the anime. The anime didn't want to like commit to her being blonde like her sister, or maybe they are just have different hair.
Yeah, I feel like at this point there's a little more, like.
I mean, and their dad has black hair.
Did he?
Yeah,
I thought he had white hair.
Oh, I was thinking for some reason, like I was thinking Spandine was their dad, but no. So Alpha comes in and she's acting like a friendly nurse, but she's like looking over her shoulder at Kuma and like picking up a little rock and like crushing it with her fingers, to be like, this is her neck if you cross us. So like, Bonnie's basically growing up. She's going to spend the next year as a hostage of the government, basically. As friendly as Alpha is going to act, and as stoic as Kuma is going to be about it. So Kuma's like, no, don't worry. I'm definitely not going to return. Kuma, he leaves the church. He like waves goodbye. He's smiling. And then like once he's kind of further away and he's more alone now, his smile lowers into a frown. He kind of like puts his face in his hand, and then he comes back up, and now his glasses are opaque.
Mm-hmm. Starts.
So the news is going around the world. We have a scene of Sugar reading the newspaper about Kuma becoming the new warlord and showing it to Doflamingo. And Doflamingo's like reclined back in his seat, reading the paper upside down, being the Joker man.
He's the Joker, baby.
We got the mysterious lady, Miss All Sunday, relaying the news to Crocodile. Crocodile's like, I could not care less. Mihawk is on his little boat by himself, reading the paper silently. We have Alvida reading the paper and being like, oh, this Kuma guy is such a big deal, but who do you think's stronger, Kobe, me or him? And then Kobe, and then they got like a nice little like the weird like body wave that Kobe does when he's like in fright of Alvida.
I forgot he was on their ship for that long.
Oh yeah, how long was it? So it's going to be a year before Luffy sets out, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And also on Whitebeard's ship, we have Ace is reading the paper. Jinbei is off to the side, also reading the paper. And Ace is like, "Oh, hey, look, Jinbei, you got a new friend in your warlord crew. Everything worked out okay, right?" And then Jinbei's like, "This wouldn't be a fuss if you didn't defeat Hanafuda in the first place." Hanafuda being the the previous warlord that Ace defeated. That Kuma's.
I forget if he was named in the manga in the chapter. I mean,
I think this is in the hold on. I have the chapter open. Let me double check. He does not. Nope. The name does not come up in the manga chapter.
Yeah, I feel like that's Toei throwing a bone to the diehards.
Yeah, Hanafuda being Ulti and Page One's dad.
Correct. Which is also answered in SBS.
Mm-hmm. And there's also a scene of Hancock learning about it from Lady Nya, and she's like, I don't care. I will never go to Central anyway. And Nya's just like, but you still gotta know these things. Perona is telling the news to Moria, and the anime has an interesting interpretation of Moria's mouth. It's like offset weirdly. And this is also like my first reminder in a while that Moria and Jinbei share a voice actor. Like I kind of hear it.
Yeah, it's like people forget.
And the revolutionaries, Sabo and Koala, they're obviously surprised by the news. They don't like hearing that Kuma's, working for the government now. And Kuma's traveling along. He's made Bonnie's crayon drawing into his Jolly Roger. And he's writing. He's sitting at his desk. He's got the drawing stapled to the wall. And he's writing to Bonnie. He says, Bonnie, I'm writing to you at sea. I became a little famous, so it is difficult to travel now, but I'm doing okay. How is everyone? I'm trying to find many places that I would like to visit with you when you turn 10. And then we cut to a scene of a young Luffy just kind of like running through the woods, being chased by what was it? It was like a lion or a tiger. Like tiger. And he's just kind of goofing off. He should be, I think he's 16 now. Obviously, Ace set sail before this because he's now on Whitebeard's crew already. So this is coming up on the day that Luffy will set sail and start his adventure proper. And then at this time, as Kuma's ship is mysteriously approaching this island, Kuma is receiving an order from the government. And Kuma's like, I'm in East Blue now. What do you want? To be continued. General thoughts on this episode, Steve?
I liked it. I think there wasn't anything that caught me by surprise. I just think it was really cute. I think it really, like I said, I think they did a great job of making Bonnie such like a likable, adorable kid. I really like the pizza party. I think that perfectly captured the vibe there. And I don't, it's fun watching like Kuma still kind of be cute in like his modern fit, his contemporary one, I guess, as we know it. And we always love the around the world stuff, so I really enjoyed getting to see the other warlords and then some of our other characters. I forgot that we saw like Alvida, so it was really cool. But like a fun episode. It's a great treat for fans like that are very invested in the story or longtime fans. None of the sequences really stood out to me in terms of animation, but I just think it's still, it did its job and it's a fun episode. Next week's episode looks kind of artsy.
Yeah, I didn't watch the preview yet.
But it was good. I enjoyed it. It's good stuff, and I think I don't know how much. I can't say for sure how many episodes we got left, but
probably like 2, right?
I would say 2 at the most.
I feel like I remembered it feeling longer in the manga. Hold on.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, so I mean, based on the manga, we got 1 more episode left.
Oh, geez. All right.
If they're still doing 1-to-1, which they probably are.
Get those tissues ready.
Or maybe hold on, they might be like intersplicing some of the. Okay, so there is like we come out of the flashback next week, but then there will be more the week after that. So
Okay, just like a tiny bit more, like at the first.
Yeah,
half.
yeah. They like fade back into the present and then go back to the past for some
Gotcha. So we got
upkeep.
an episode and a half left.
Yeah, before it's like really goes into it. Yeah, I think I agree by and large. I thought that the just Bonnie being cute stuff was really well done. That did stand out to me, and I like hearing any version of "We Are" in the soundtrack.
Yeah,
And
anytime.
I really liked revisiting a lot of like the warlord characters. I liked kind of remembering because that's like very pre-time skip. Like it just kind of brought me back to like, oh yeah, that's what like the world of One Piece was to us for a while.
Yeah. When Robin's like, Robin was a bad guy.
Yeah, Moria. Who remembers Moria now?
Yeah, God, yeah. I don't know where the hell he's been.
All right. Anything else you'd like to say before we move on to the next segment?
I'm getting ready for a lot of rain in the next couple weeks.
Yep. Thank you, Steve. Let's move on.
Let's do it.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, and theories, and we think outside the tankobon. I still don't like that joke. Sam, what's our first segment?
Our first segment is Dispiece.
What do we got? On Discord.
Let me scroll up. I'm still finding my spot.
First one's from Big Mike.
Our first Dispiece is from Big Mike, who says, "Hey, OPP, Okiku made it to Yamato's cover story for the last chapter of Pride Month. While ironically, it is the straightest part of the cover story because she and Yamato are about to engage in a heterosexual hug since they are both opposite sex and gender identity, and she's the only woman who Yamato can be a seahorse dad with."
I think in that one could impregnate the other.
No, it's usually that the
dad,
male seahorse is
right.
the one that kind of.
But also, that's not straight. Still, right?
Raises the child.
That's not.
I don't know.
Slander here.
I think it's the mythical both.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I am
of Pride
literally
Month,
the last person to ask about this.
what would you rather do for next Pride Month? Go to Kamabaka Kingdom or Queendom and get chased by the Kamabakas? Go to Amazon Lily, the Japanese word for lily is Yuri, and get chased by the Kuja? Engage in hedonistic activities with the gay celestial dragons in the gay district of Marijoa. I assume that's where Ivankov was a slave at?
Was a slave? Ivankov was a slave?
Well, I mean, yeah, he was at God Valley.
Someone's not watching the anime.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Impel down level 5.5 Newcomer land, but you have to go through being a prisoner before getting there, or work at a gay steel mill with Yamato and Okiku, then spend your evenings at a lesbian bar without a fire exit.
Oh no!
Hopefully, none of you have any sparks in your hair.
What was her problem?
Okay, some good Simpsons references.
Get it.
It's a lot of options.
There are a lot of options.
I mean, I just want to hang out with Yamato and Okiku, so I'll take the no fire
sure.
exit. Yeah.
If I were younger, If I were younger, maybe like level 5.5 or something. But I'm too tired to party. That's the saddest sentence I've ever said. What about you, Steve? Which hedonistic Pride Month activity are you taking part in? Definitely not the Celestial Dragon one.
Yeah, what were the options besides those and Yamato and Kiku?
Kamabaka.
Get chased by the Kamabakas.
It's a little,
Amazon
that's a little
Lily.
intense. It would be good cardio, though. I kind of need to get back in shape.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Especially on the beach. Like, that's really tough.
Ooh,
Amazon Lily, you also get chased, though.
It's going to kill your calves.
You be hedonistic with the celestial dragon.
That sounds awful and also
Yeah.
non-consensual.
Well, they I'd be in a dress within like 5 minutes on Kamabaka Queendom. Amazon Lily, they would have me like tied up like they did in like Ewok Village.
Yes, and try and murder you. Yeah, and not in the good way. Death by snoo, as they say in Futurama. But not really. They'll just murder you.
Amazon Lily's kind of nice once you're not threatening.
I think you've convinced me on Kamabaka because skipping has got to be a good workout if you skip down the beach. Could all work on our skipping, I think.
Sachet.
Yeah, sachet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, they have the
Sachet.
good meals. They have the what is it? The Sanji learn the.
Oh yeah.
The other one is
recipes
in
there.
jail. One is in jail. One is as an indentured servant, a slave in Mary Joa. That sounds awful. Amazon Lily sounds good, but they would murder you. They would 100% kill you. The lesbian bar without a fire exit's great, I think. Although you want a fire exit. Gay steel mill, that's too much work. I don't like heat.
I thought you said this is going to be a quick piece together.
No, I want to spend another 20 minutes on this one.
Steven desperately needs the wrap it up box.
In the words of Phil Omar in Pulp Fiction, man, I don't even have an opinion.
You have to answer it though. That's what Patreon
I gotta
is
save
for.
that GIF.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Our next diss piece comes from the gayer King.
Oh no, they're
In
gonna just get
parentheses.
gayer and gayer.
In parentheses, Slay. This is the Slayer King, feeling gay. Hello, my fellow baby throwers. What drama
No.
between
Oh God.
I want to put on the record I do not baby throw. Do not partake.
what
in
drama
it.
between Harold and his baby mamas makes me miss the wholesomeness of Gabon and Ripley? Ooh, I have an idea. Why don't y'all plan the perfect date night between the two? I'm interested to hear what you think they would do. Have a great week.
The moms or Gabon and Ripley?
Between the
Gabon
three.
and Ripley. What's the Gabon and Ripley date night
okay.
as
First
an
of all,
antidote?
we had an amazing chapter of One Piece, but you could tell it's the last weekend of Pride because people are really trying to get their shit in.
It's like they're not going to take these questions after June.
I thought they were asking like how is Harold going to continuously excuse himself to go to the bathroom and run to the table with the other woman?
Yes.
You know,
I forgot to
at the
mention
same
that
time.
during how ridiculous the fact that, oh my God, the whole thing is bizarre in the chapter that he, like, wanted to marry and was in love with this person and then had a
Right.
baby with yeah, it's gross a little bit.
It
Yeah, I
did
don't
take him
know.
like multiple more decades to get it on with
to
Estrid,
conceive,
though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it did.
I
Or
mean,
maybe,
it
well,
is.
how long? I mean, like, are giant pregnancies just very long, maybe?
God,
Yeah.
it really sucks being a giant. You're a child for like 40 years. You're pregnant probably for like 10. Almost as long as Porkot Steve Rouge.
Yeah, maybe she was like maybe
half
she was
giant.
like a half a halfling giant, yeah,
Or a fourth,
like,
yeah, had giant blood. That would have been a better explanation
than what we got.
than whatever the fuck happened. What's the next question? I can't. I know we
Our
didn't
next
answer
is-
the real question, but I don't care anymore.
Our next diss piece comes from Revestrid Ida Patch, who says, "Y'all, I love Ida's design. Oda made a cute lady who is in no way a Nami clone with her freckles, nose, eyes, and mouth all being the kinds of traits he typically gives his ugly women, but combining them to make up this pretty giant. I hope she's still around."
No.
Another thing,
Yep.
it appears that Harold introduced the idea of a pole star to some rando humans, but the islands where Logtown is located are called the Pole Star Islands. Is this the name? Is this the
That's
same
from the
translation?
live action, right? That's not like a... Or
It
is
probably
it
came from some extremely random,
That Greg found.
quasi
Let's just
official
say.
source. Yeah,
Yeah.
Does this mean that the islands were named recently, or maybe that information on stellar navigation was lost in the Void Century?
I mean, you could name something after a star, and it could have nothing to do
Maybe,
with it.
maybe it's just
you
like
know?
maybe it's just parallel thinking. They just like, well, we were thinking about poles,
Well, you know, like
stars.
Polaris is on the Alaska flag, but they're not anywhere close to the North Star. Oh, wait a second. The North, I get it.
We really like our snowmobile brands out here in Logtown.
Also, he was explaining that to what appeared to be a group of people from Wano, right? Because they had the big rocks in the background. And, Wano is famously kind of isolationist. So, yeah, maybe they don't have the best sailing technology.
What's next?
Our next disc piece comes from SNP, who says, "Hey, OPP, to quote Viz's social media team, King Harold learned early on that size isn't everything. Am I right? But to the question, do you think Saul and Ida are both coming from the same country? They're both from South Blue after all, and the way Oda drew the two thick lips is very similar. Also, question for Steven, is the name of Ida's island a pun on something?"
Yeah, like I gave my answer, which is that I don't really have an answer, but it certainly does have the feel of something that is.
SNP posted like images of Saul's intro with the growly face next to Ida's, and they are making the same exact thing. That's pretty funny. I didn't even notice that.
Same like hand gesture.
Yeah. Fake
it's
scaring people. Yeah.
Maybe she's a relative, or like maybe they were on a boat out of Elbaf, like a bunch of them, just like the thing from Zoro's.
That changes everything we ever knew about One Piece.
It's like the Bluths doing the chicken dancing. They're just genetically related. They do these weird hand things when they scare people.
Well, no, but the similarity in look too is what the listener was pointing at. They have the same hair color. They must be brother and sister. But I do wonder, like, are we talking about like just a lost group of like former nomads that like set off on their own from Elbaf long ago? Were there more islands of giants? It is an interesting, like, how does this fit in with everything else? It sounds like the former. I think it's
Our next disc piece comes from Sailor Karna, who says, "Hey OPP, we finally got a mom backstory, 2 actually, and wow, Oda is not beating those allegations. We got manic pixie dream girl Ida and greedy bitch Estrid. One-dimensional women, no nuance at all." Hold on.
Whoa. I don't agree with that. First of all, I don't even think Ida is a manic pixie dream girl. That's
I dispute that characteristic.
We don't even know if she has blue hair yet.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think she has as much 3 dimensions as you could possibly get in that amount of pages.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if at the end of this flashback, if it turns out that like she's so brokenhearted that she eternal sunshines herself to forget about Harold and Loki, then then maybe she fits. But
the next question, Sam, I'm seeing is about volume, and I'm assuming it's a correction, volume 112.
So some text changes for the volume release for some recent chapters.
Should we wait for that, Steven, until
no, let's read this one because I saw
okay just I don't want to overstep.
So our disc piece from Straw Hat Rigby says, "Hey OP, saw on Twitter that the most recent volume has corrected Gunko's title to be from the man-mayor celestial family. How do you think this changes some of her ties to Brook? Could this mean Brook was a holy knight or some sort of guard for the celestial dragons? Also, on point of the chapter, I definitely shed some tears at Loki's little baby hands reaching out for anyone."
So normally I would be like, oh, this is, either, wow, this is a really early spoiler, or, leaked volume SBS type stuff. But I was, someone did point out the context in the, in our One Piece manga channel on the OPP Discord, that apparently this image was not from the volume, or it was not sourced from the volume. It was from the Shonen Jump ad for volume 112. Like, it was like, hey, check out what's coming out in the upcoming release this week of volume 112. and so it had this page, or it had the panel of Shamrock and Gunko, and there was more information on it than there was initially.
Does the ad specifically say like, "Hey, we changed something," or did they choose this page just because so that people would that we would care?
Maybe I don't know why. Yeah, I guess I mean it's an important moment for sure in the in the content of the volume. But I don't necessarily think I don't think they put it in the ad to be like, check out, there's new information here. I think that just maybe that was a coincidental thing. But yeah, otherwise I'm not really going to comment on it. I mean, I think that you can probably guess how that would affect the stuff we already talked about, because we already did like break down a lot of what the implications were of that little mini flashback that she had. So,
yeah. and I believe originally she also she didn't have like a saint title of any kind. Which
right, it was just Gunko.
It was just Gunko, which is Greg had been positing was more of a hint as to her background than a name, right?
Possibly, yeah.
So maybe this cuts into that. The Man-Mayer family, I know. Man-Mayer family, I know, was from the God's Valley.
Yes, yeah, there was some rando
person,
who was like, "We'll do it for the Man-Mayer family." And like, okay, thanks, dude. But now we have a reason to care slightly because it's good.
So we have a disc piece from Hopkins Hat 15, who says, "Hey OPP, how it be? Man, this single chapter has so much in it. When you compare this to the Odin flashback, you can tell Oda is not wasting time right now. How many chapters do you think this one could have been split into if Oda was still taking his time?"
Yeah,
I strongly disagree.
Depends on what year we're talking about.
I was just going to say
the flashbacks have only gotten longer.
Yeah,
I think since
they have Kuma's was
since the time skip. Like flashbacks used to be.
That's why it's moving so fast, because there's going to be so much more coming.
Yeah.
That's how I was feeling. Like this feels like a setup. This like everything we've been doing. This is a story about Loki and Harold, but it's more about Loki.
I would say like
it's going to come in at some point.
And Loki and also Loki and Lola's courtship. That's important.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I could see like in the older days, like he would go through the chapter, and then like the cliffhanger would be like, "No, you are forbidden from marrying her. This will be your bride," and then there will be some like teaser panel where you can't actually see Estrid, and that would be like the end of the chapter or something. If he was really spreading it out.
Yeah,
you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
Our next disc piece comes from Sheepman, who says, "Howdy, OPP. I noticed that Dory and Brogy's battle at Little Garden started within the time span that this chapter went over, since they had been fighting for 100 years when the Straw Hats met them there. Perhaps without them, King Harold was more open to expanding Elbaf's outreach to the wider world without their influence. I bring it up due to the beginning of their feud being seemingly glossed over." Yeah, I guess like from like the Elbaf's local perspective, they're just like, oh yeah, Dory and Brogy, they're out having an adventure. They'll probably be back.
Yeah,
eventually.
I'm trying to think of like how old they would have been when they started, because we don't see. There's no year given at the start of this chapter when we see them carousing on with a little youngster Harold. But he's not that much older when Oda starts giving us years, like 105 years ago. Maybe he's, I don't know. Maybe they could have been about 50 or so at that point. Does that seem right? I think they're like around 150 now.
Oh, they would have been that young at this point?
They were young looking. They didn't have their facial hair.
I mean, when they started their duel, yeah.
And also they were all like contemporaries, and he was only quote unquote 15.
Well, like when they start their fight, they do have like beards, and they do look more or less how they look now.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
that's also 100
Yeah.
volumes. 100 volumes ago. So. Yeah.
All right, and that'll do it for this piece.
Okay, since we started recording late, we're gonna call that a day for Piece Together. I know we got a lot of other ones, and we will get to them maybe next week. We'll see what we're doing. But why don't we round off the podcast?
Okay.
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 874 for June 30th, 2025. Thank you all so much for coming on the show. Ed had to take off, but Dr. Gomez, can you tell us where people could find you?
For people to know, I'll be also at Anime New York, and I'll be at other conventions throughout the year, and I'm also working on a project with a couple of scholars across the country to do like a deconstructed anthropological analysis of One Piece. So that's going to be like a big project that's going to take place of my Japan project that didn't took place because of funding. So I'll have more information on that. But yeah, it's always a blast being here with you guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity every time.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes,
Yay.
absolutely.
Anime New York City.
Yes, I will be there in August.
I gotta try and make it, or at least to the area.
Yes.
Have a good night,
Bye,
Doc.
everyone. Have a wonderful night. Bye.
And Kirsten, where can people find you?
They can find me at on Instagram at KIRCAREYGTR, and on Blue Sky without the GTR part. Also, if you're going to Anime Expo, I will be there. I will be largely just loitering. But if you see me, come up and say hi.
Sam, where could people find you?
They can technically find me on Twitter at Lucky Chainsaw. They can properly find me on Blue Sky at LC Sam. Playing some Death Stranding this week. Building some highways, which is the very very exciting current event.
Yes. Steven.
Follow me on Blue Sky at stephenpaul.bsky.social. As far as what's coming up, obviously we're going to be on break with One Piece. We'll see about maybe an SGS this weekend. I still have to check with Greg to see what his schedule is like. But coming up either this week or next week, I should be having the penultimate chapter of Shoha Shoten. We're almost done with that. That's a real fun one. Great series. I have enjoyed working on it quite a lot. And looking ahead to some possible replacements in my schedule for later in the fall or something, which hopefully something will line up and come through for that. But almost done with Shoha Shoten, so you can read that in the Shonen Jump app and Manga Plus and stuff.
Congrats.
Yeah,
That one-
congratulations.
I like Shoha Shoten a lot. It's really a delight.
Yeah, it's a cool series.
I need to jump on that one. I don't think the volume 112 thing is going to pan out for this week. Not to
No, it's coming
discuss
out
this on
like
air.
2 days before. Yeah, it just doesn't.
It's on the
doesn't line up.
4th, I think. So
Yeah.
mail's very quick that day, I'm sure.
And Steven, you said we were skipping the fan letter magazine.
Oh, I didn't say
I
that.
forgot about that.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
forgot. Is that out?
Yeah,
You know what? I'll purchase
Right
it. And, oh,
It's-
so
Okay.
no, it's not out.
Damn, it sucks
he's holding
because
it.
Josh is in a different time zone now. But we both picked this up at
yeah.
the same time and we loved it. So I don't know if you need people to talk about it.
Okay.
let us know.
Yeah,
You guys are both going to be at Anime Expo, though.
To be
Or
honest,
you're gonna be, I mean.
as an anime fan and just working in animation, there's so many blurbs in here that I want to know. like what they're saying. So
He wants you to
to
translate it for
if
him.
you have the
as well.
time.
I will look at Amazon, see if I can.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
yeah. I can't see it being like a long segment. This is just like the magazine's basically an art book, but I'm sure there's a lot of interesting things to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. So we have stuff that we can do, but I don't think we're gonna. Steve, we wouldn't do that without you, and that's Anime Expo weekend. So I'm assuming you're not going to be on this coming week. Steve, where can people find you?
My website, social media, Steve Yurko. Just look it up. Easy to find. Listen to me on 4Kids Flashback. Listen to me on ProZD Plays Games. And you can also find me at Anime Expo along with Vero. I'll be at K46 and Artist Alley all weekend. Come by, say hello, buy product. Take part in capitalism. Buy
Really
things.
selling.
I
really are selling.
I love buying things.
I see
It
your
is
bookshelf.
fun.
Yeah, buying things unfortunately is a lot of fun. But everyone said their thing, right? You can find us at onepiecepodcast.com. One Piece Podcast anywhere you get your social media. We're the One Piece Podcast anywhere you get your podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, ... the rest. I should probably learn more podcasting platforms. Thank you all for listening. As we mentioned, next week remains a question mark in that we don't know specifically what we're doing, but we should be doing something. And the week after that, we're back with some cool guests and a regularly scheduled episode of the One Piece Podcast. So until then, everyone, my name is Zach.
And my name is Steve.
And subscribe to us on Patreon. Almost forgot. Do it. What do you do? I'll wait until you do it. Let me just.
Oh my God, let us go.
Nope, not happening. Not happening until the listener here subscribes on Patreon.
Oh, gives us money. Oh, just subscribe.
Yes.
You don't have to give money to subscribe on Patreon.
What? No, I know you're right, but if both would be nice.
You'll see posts. You'll see when we post. You don't necessarily get to see all the posts, but you'll know that we are posting.
Thank you, Steve. Once again, you said a sentence that could have taken 2 words and made them 30 words.
It's like getting blocked on Twitter.
My God. I'm ending this. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.